Oh, I forgot to. Shit.
That's the only thing I'm really worried about. I think everything else is
Oh, hold on.
set, unless you wanted me to have more advancements just because of
No, hang on.
late nerf.
I totally I fucked it. I forgot to add your shit. So I wasn't ready either. That's okay. I'll be able to do this when we.
I'm level 4.
Stonetop.
What level am I? Holy crap.
What is your character's name again? Sorry, Mel. Your new character.
Sonia.
Can we see her sheet in the actors so I can remember her name?
Yep. You'll need to give me a sec. Because I forgot to add Mel's image to the game as well. Okay. Remind me how I do this. Whoop. Why'd that not work? Sorry, I gotta remember how to add images to. That's not it. Is it that? No. What? Ah, here we go. Sorry, I know I'm talking to myself. There we go. Does that work? There we go. All right. Mel, you should be able to see configure ownership. So you guys can't see her character sheet.
No.
Let's say server. I wish you could just make everyone else. Oh, Mel is the owner. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. You are playing the Seeker. All right, because we got to finish up Mel's stuff. All right, so you've gotten your Arcana, and I guess we'll have to talk about what you chose because you'll have some questions you have to answer here. So I hope you're ready, Mel.
I think I did put most of it in my character sheet, so I think
Okay.
I am.
All right, so we'll start with. I'm just going to start at the top left of your character sheet. We'll just work our way down like we have with everyone else. So, in your travels and investigations, you've acquired Arcana, artifacts of power and mystery. Your major Arcana grants you one major Arcanum, and then you're going to answer at least two questions. You want to tell everyone what you chose. You can tell them, I guess, as much or as little as you want about like the card.
So, and I'm gonna do this somewhat narratively. So as they enter into Stonetop, this group of people, one thing about Sonia that may be noted is that she, despite being really young as far as appearance, she does have a staff that she seems to carry around with her. And the way I imagine this, and Sean, correct me if you disagree, I'm not talking like a quarterstaff that's taller than she is. I'm not talking a Gandalf staff. I'm talking a staff that maybe comes up to about like the top of her ribs, maybe just under her, maybe just slightly above her hips, that she kind of leans on, where her hand kind of sits on top of the bulbous top of it. And I say that because there is like a cloth bound around it, and it's got other accents to it, but she kind of always seems to walk with this, not that she needs it to lean on, but she does always seem to have it with her. What was the question? Sorry, I got distracted.
No,
that
that's well. You
Okay.
Yep, you can describe it. That's fine. I like it. I like the description. And then you have to answer two questions. So either where did you acquire it, from whose grasp did you wrest it, who else wants it, or what did it cost you?
So the first two questions kind of I can answer with one, and essentially I'm come from a peoples whose clans are constantly warring, and seekers among us, while not common, are a known thing. They are fortune teller-esque, I imagine, among my people. They are seen to be very beneficial to clans, and essentially this particular object was wrest from a seeker of a rival clan that we had defeated. As for who else wants it, this thing is storied among my people, and those who know of it tend to covet it because of those rumors and thoughts of how it enhances a seeker or a fortune teller-esque predictions that gives them advantages in fights, either to see the future or to, have better chances to ambush at night. There's all these rumors that spill around it. So other seekers from other clans, be it lost to them now or otherwise, as far as knowing where it is, I leave up to you, Sean, but that's my thoughts on who else wants it.
So you're saying basically this, just so for my clarity. So this thing basically a lot of, and you're from
The North Marches.
the Manreach, I think.
Manreach, thank you.
Manreach. So a lot of the tribes in Manreach are, or some of them are aware of it. You wrested it from the hands of a rival seeker, basically a rival shaman or something like it. And
Correct.
anyone who knows, I think I would like to, maybe we don't have to do it right now, and I might come up with it in my own time unless you have ideas. Like there's someone specific who, a clan or one seeker specifically who wants it. But I'll give that some thought. I think that's fine.
I'll take a note too and see if I can develop some thoughts.
Because it could be like, who else wants it? Because it could be like, from whose grasp did you wrest it? Is the seeker you took it from the rival clan? And like when you say took it, I assume you're meaning there was like a battle or there was violence and was it taken like, or was it thefted in the night? Right?
No, essentially prior to the death of my husband, one of the clans that we clashed with and eventually had victory over is where the seeker was part of. But I have this thought that, like, especially rival seekers are always put to death because that is a threat, because you don't know where their loyalties lie, and having more than one seeker in a clan gives there's too much superstition surrounding their ability. So there's always ever one seeker in a clan, unless it's an apprentice chosen by the current speaker as they age.
So are you saying, were you apprenticed in your clan, or did you kill a rival seeker?
I killed a rival. We killed a rival seeker.
In your own clan?
No. As we took over another clan. So clan A, clan B. I'm in clan A. We fight clan B. We win. We decimate them. Those who surrender are then absorbed into clan A, but clan B's seeker is executed.
I see.
And I take this as spoils of war, so to say.
I also maybe that's the answer to like who you took it from, but then who else wants it could also be like anyone in the world, right? Like it could be someone who's heard of this thing and has been trying to track it. It doesn't have to be someone from it could be someone from one of the tribes of Manreach, but it could be.
I was thinking this item specifically was a storied artifact of my people, very specifically. Like most peoples have items. Why did my brain just die? Oh my god, what is that item?
A roll of toilet paper.
No.
A tray of kitty litter.
The goblet of fire.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the what is it actually called though?
The Holy fucking Grail?
Holy Grail, thank you.
Really?
Yes.
I was joking. I was just making an Indiana Jones reference,
like,
but you were
the
literally.
Holy Grail is a legit like artifact of Christian religion, that kind of concept, but within my own people with this item.
And so, as far as you're aware, I'm assuming like
there may be others, but that's just.
But is this the kind of artifact, do you think? And again, I don't know if this is going to come up, but I'm just curious you're thinking about it. Like, is this staff is there still a story about where it originally came from, or have the stories evolved to where it's always been with the tribes of Manreach? Like, is there a history about the staff that predates the tribes, or is it just?
I think.
What I'm asking is like, have the tribes of Manreach like exercised like narrative control over the staff so that no one questions its?
No, they have not.
So there is still a story about like its actual origin.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Nope, you're good. And then yeah, we'll figure out who else wants it if it's somebody from one of the tribes, which would make sense. Like, do you think in with the tribes, does its ownership um I don't want to use the word gift. Does it indicate a sort of authority? Does it indicate power, wisdom? Does it, aside from the pure power that it provides, is there some other, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Like what I'm, I guess, alluding to, I'm not suggesting this is the case, but a crown, if someone has a crown, they're the king. Does owning this staff or does possessing the staff indicate to other tribes that there's something unique about you or the tribe that happens to carry it at the time? Is it like a trophy that you own so others?
I actually think that it's a secretive thing.
So you try
Because
to hide the possession of it.
yeah, so within the clan, yes, you're seen. Again, I would think seekers in general have a general reverie about them, but not every clan has a seeker, just because there's natural ability tied into it. But a seeker who then can wield this staff additionally, even the leader of the clan, though in this case it happened to be my husband, does give some deference to their seeker. It kind of brings them from, for example, king over seeker to maybe level playing field, or even seeker slightly above the king.
Or could it be? Is it a thing where having like if a seeker in a tribe has possession of it, it grants you. I'm going to use the word worm tongue, not literally. Like
Yeah.
it means you become an advisor almost, like
Yes.
okay.
Absolutely.
But now your tribe doesn't have. I'm gathering, and maybe we'll get into this, like because you fled, so
I did.
so your tribe doesn't have a formal leader in that. In that.
Well, it's the same exact as I just described, except this time I was Clan B. My clan lost. My husband was killed, so we fled before I could be put to death, and I used this staff probably to help us escape.
Ah, ooh, woof. Okay, interesting.
Which
Okay,
is why it's my sister and her kids, my brother-in-law with me. I don't have any of his family at all with me. I grabbed my only sibling and her family.
okay. Um, okay, and then we know we'll figure out exactly who wants it, but it seems like there's definitely going to be some hands looking for this thing. So you've begun to unlock the mysteries of your major arcanum. You mark one square or circle on the front. Now, this I
It
should have.
has 3.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if I should mark a second or third.
well, no, the orb shows you a terrible vision. Mark one or see below. So I think you should just mark one while the other. Oh, I see. Okay. I
Yeah,
misunderstood. That's how you level the thing. I see. Okay. Failing
Right.
rolls specifically to it.
I
Okay.
would like to ask for a second one just because I am coming in at level 3. I won't have it fully unlocked. I'll have to do that in play because I think that'd be interesting.
Okay. I'm
Um,
good with that if you want to mark two on that.
okay, cool. Thank you so much.
I'll be benevolent again. And then it's fine with me unless you have specifics like when and how did that happen. I'm assuming like in your escape, right? In your
Yes.
attempts to flee. Okay. So that's when you used it. Okay. And then minor arcana. Okay, so now choose one whose secrets you have unlocked. If it's portable, and you did tell me what you took, but they're still on the Discord. I know you answered it.
Um,
So yeah, which secrets have you unlocked?
wait, did I misread something?
I don't know. Did you?
So yeah, it's the mound that I've fully unlocked.
Right, the peat mound.
And essentially I just think it's in a very shamanistic way. I keep like because I have moved from that place, is I just kind of keep a stash of the mound with me, either a small pouch, and then since I have laboratory and laboratory tools, I probably have a clay pot type thing of it.
Well, let me. That might be. This is why I was a little concerned. Let me go look at it because I don't know if you can leave it. Like I don't know if it can move. I'll have to. Let me reread it though.
Because it says I keep some with me.
It might. I just. Yeah, like I said, I have to. My assumption was you couldn't move it.
Because if I can't move it or bring it with me, that's going to change my.
That's why I was a little surprised that you took it. I mean, it does say. Let's see. It does say when you use mud from it, but then that implies that like. My trouble there is like I feel like you would only have so many uses because without traveling back to it because the peat mound doesn't move.
Yeah. I think that was one of the questions I meant to ask you is how many uses I would have. Everybody's listening to this. They have no idea what we're talking about.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
Pitcher's mound. She's got to go to the baseball field.
Yeah,
I have to build a baseball field here.
I feel like you would probably only have like I don't know. It was like 3 uses of it. Because it doesn't, it doesn't tell us how much mud and we don't know how big the, I imagine it's like a clay pot that you have that you've filled with it.
So can we flip 1 and 2? I'll have the ring fully, and then this is something I'm working on. Like maybe I took a sample of it with me, but I'd have to go back to fully.
Yeah, if you want to flip them, yeah.
Okay, then that'll work better then.
Okay. So obviously, then you keep this on you,
Yep.
or you could keep it somewhere safe.
No, it just I have a lot of adornments on me anyway. Again, very shamanistic type. So.
And how did you come to master it?
I think it was mostly accidental. Again, it was spoils of war. I was equipped with it. And after like a season, I had mostly forgotten about it. It was just one of my many pieces. All of a sudden, there's maybe a dream or a vision, and at first I thought it was the first thing that I always had with me, but it's not. It was very different, in how it unlocked and how it revealed itself to me. And then when it came to fleeing, essentially, I wielded it almost unintentionally to persuade.
Okay. I like
and that
it.
way, and that's why maybe the large group that came with me did.
Yeah, because I do have a wonder about one of those specific people you brought with you. And maybe more about the culture of the people of Manridge, but we can get into that. Okay. So that makes sense, yeah. And then another you've not yet mastered, which will be the Grim Peat Mound. So you know where it is. It may be only known to you. I think canonically it tells us where it is. It's not far from Marsh Edge, so it would have been on your journey from the south coming up here.
I imagine maybe the spirit came out. Not just of its own. We ventured too close, considering the direction we travel to get to Stonetop. We ventured too close, or maybe somebody else who has unlocked its things sent it upon the group.
No, definitely sucked it upon the group. I feel like that's canon now. Okay. So that one you know about, but you haven't started like working on it. You know that you can't communicate with the spirit yet. You know about it, but that's something you'll be wanting to maybe work on.
Yes.
Okay. The third thing you've not yet found, you have a lead. This was the third
Just
thing.
Stories from the road.
I gotta remind myself what it is. Rusty locks. Okay. Okay, so yep, that one returns to me. Chain of rusty locks. Okay. That's done, I think. Next, you don't have to wait for everyone else because no one else is making characters because only yours died. You introduce yourself by name, pronoun, background, origin, and appearance.
Yep, and I think we touched on this a bit last week. So my character is Sonia. She, her, she comes from these kind of warrior type people. She is a shaman of them. It makes her kind of stand out when the group move into Stonetop at the beginning of summer. You know, they all seem to give her some sort of deference, but once they reach Stonetop, she kind of starts deferring them to the power here. The only people she sticks close to are her family. As for her appearance, she is a woman in her mid 40s, though she does look curiously young, closer to maybe her early 30s. With she's got a warm voice, bright eyes. She's lean and willowy. She's got long blonde, golden blonde hair that she often keeps tied back or up in some kind of either messy bun, series of braids. She wears again a number of adornments, from made of bone or silver or gold. Like it's all kind of mismatched. Again, there are a lot of spoils of war, so to say. And she is curiously, maybe here, covered in tattoos. The entirety of her neck, her chest as it disappears into her clothing, a lot on the tops of her shoulders, almost not fully down her arm, maybe just above the elbows. And again, she doesn't wear, you know, super revealing clothes. So beyond that, you're not sure how far the dark ink goes.
Is
Last but
this
not,
for my clarity? These tattoos, are they? Do all people from Manreach have them, or is this specific to you because of you're a seeker?
I think tattoos are common among Manreach people, but she's there's something about this for her. There's something that the number of them that she keeps again having like the full neck, shoulders, a large part of her chest tattooed is excessive. It's something she would have to sit for hours on. It's something ritualistic, possibly, for her as part of being a seeker or some of the arcanum she's unlocked. So tattoos are common, but the intensity in which she's starting to become covered is uncommon. Does that make sense?
And I'm guessing based on what you've said that like other people from Manreach have tattoos, but I'm sort of imagining it as being, because we've talked about this being kind of, it sounds like a warrior tribe situation that most people get tattoos, like they earn tattoos, right? What's the people from, I feel like such a dick for asking it this way, but from Moana, the
Okay. The like the
the
storytelling.
well, no, the actual people from
Oh,
that part of the world. What are they called? Why am I blanking so hard?
Samoans.
Samoans. Yeah, so they like either the storytelling or like when you've earned certain passages, like when you've aged a certain extent or like when you've won certain battles, like you might, is it that situation for everyone but maybe not for you, like in the sense that yours were have more to do with your arcane nature maybe?
Yeah, so a lot of the thing that distinguishes Sonya's ink, I would say, from others is that the tattoos that other people have, they tend to be bigger, blockier, bulkier. They're still detailed. They still either tell a story of victory or loss or something like that. But Sonya's are delicate. They're vine-like and they're thin and as opposed to, so it's like it's the wisps she sees in her visions. It's the scroll work in which she writes, or reads or makes her notes. It's the alchemical smokes, from her lab type of imagery versus the heavier, bulkier shield work and netting essentially of or lattice work of a warrior's tattoo.
Okay. Anything else about your origin or appearance, anything like that?
The only other thing I will notice is that her left ring finger is completely devoid of any jewelry, despite the other rings and stuff that she wears. Though there is a singular small tattoo, as an homage to her fallen husband.
Okay. All right. Next, you will describe the special possessions you took.
Okay.
Get 2 in
Well,
addition to your scribe's tools.
Yep. So the other thing is books and scrolls. She's definitely a learned woman of some degree. She has a number of vellums and parchment of various age, some newer, some older, books or even just binding that she's yet to fill. In as far as part of her equipment. And then last but not least, she has a chest that jingles ever slightly, at least as she's unloading it from the caravans that they come with, or that's was strapped very carefully, filled with little vials and not abacus. What is it called?
Alembics.
Alembics. Thank you. I could see the fucking Skyrim image when you have to find that damn alembic, and I couldn't think of the name. And little trays and little scales, things like that. That she has a laboratory set.
Okay, so she travels with it. Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We've already sort of, you can describe your arcana in more detail if you'd like, major or minor. We've already heard a description of your staff. It's up to you to what extent you want to describe those to the group.
Yep. As far as the minor, again, she does have on her hands, though it is one of many, so it'd be impossible to tell which. She does have a very. I'm trying to think. The only person I could think would be Cassander, who might notice its uniqueness, is a silvered ring. And then she does have a small. I want to say it's almost matchbox size. I would say like sample of dirt and mud, or something to that effect, of an odd consistency that she seems to always keep nearby and sometimes just stare at when lost in thought.
Okay. All right. So on next, you're going to answer one of the following. Name one or more NPCs who lives in Stonetop.
So again, I come with my sister. She is essentially a slightly younger, plumper, again, mother of three, twin to Sonia. Couple years younger, but same fair hair, fair skin. Again, much softer. She motherhood suits her type of woman. And again, Sonia brought her as her closest kin, her best friend, her conspirator. And again, brought her to Stonetop with me.
Okay. And then, yeah, what's her name?
Good question.
Yeah, Tanya.
Nope, Astrid.
Astrid. Okay. And then you can answer another question or pass if you wish. But you want to, again, this is an opportunity if you want to say like, who do you secretly watch over and why? This can be like someone in Stonetop. It doesn't want to have to be one of your kin. But I do want to sort of prompt, because I'm curious to see if there's anything here based on your description of the people of Manreach. I imagine that this is being a warrior seems very important to these tribes. Being strong seems very important. So I wonder how your brother-in-law feels about, because I'm basically yes. Yeah, I mean
Ran
it's
away in cowardice.
exactly
Didn't
like
die in battle.
I wonder exactly like I wonder if to a man of Manreach, to a warrior of Manreach, if it does not bring shame to him to have fled, like even like, and I guess I'm also wondering if your character used, for example, the ring on him to get him to go, because why would a warrior of Manreach not prefer to die?
Yeah. Definitely. So there's him she would keep an eye on, and I think what it was is because of the otherworldly convincing that happened. He didn't realize it until they were maybe a day or two out that this isn't right. We're fleeing. We're being cowards. Things like that. Because most of the rest of the caravan, I imagine, were maybe not warriors. They were farmers. They were
Women and
you know,
children.
women, children, things again, people who would follow Sonia normally, or or maybe some of the younger men who were not quite yet engrossed in that society, or maybe disagreed with it, were still young enough to have their own opinions, type thing. And I think the bitterness has kind of grown, and she's seen it and sensed it. And I think Sonia's always kind of like not disagreed with the way their life was, but she'd be okay with a change. which is maybe one of the things her husband was working towards, that united, like, we don't need to fight each other type concept. So yeah, she definitely keeps an eye on Elias. But I think she also keeps an eye on her 4-year-old niece Cecilia, because even at 4 years old, she's largely nonverbal, very clingy to the people she knows, which that's a little more understanding. But she's quiet and calm. She doesn't cry. She doesn't fuss. She just kind of keeps to herself. And Sonia finds that disturbing, because there should be more life to a child of 4 years old at this point, as opposed to this quiet mouse in the corner.
Okay.
Fit right in with Sophia, and then
I was
whatever
literally
John's
just
adopted
thinking.
What is
daughter
it? Oh,
Yeah, 100%. As soon as you said it, I'm like, you're playing right into my hand. You don't know it, but yeah, that's
shit.
thanks. Good job. You did it. You did the thing. um, okay. And then did you want to answer? It sounds like I'm assuming you don't have a lover.
No.
Okay. And then trust, I'm assuming it's if you want to answer it, you don't have to. Obviously, you've answered a couple questions, but it sounds like it would be your sister if anybody.
If anybody, yeah.
All right. Next, let's say ask your fellow PCs. So, and I think we're going to assume narratively here again, it's probably like mid to late summer. Whole village of freaky children. Yeah, now we've got the twins too. Twin sons, though, if memory serves. So, yeah. So on your step 6, go around and ask your fellow PCs one of the questions. I may interject as necessary, but you're welcome to get started.
I think Sonia, because again, she's coming from a position of power. She's until she's settled herself, and she's been in some sense of mourning as well. She's largely kept to herself and to her people. She's tried to keep her people calm and any issues quelled, again, with Elias being maybe a bit bitter and discontent with the lack of, I mean, maybe he's taken up a position in the guard, which is, I think, what was discussed, and try to help towards those goals, but he still itches for something more violent. I feel like she would have been working in her lab a lot, trying to make poultices, or, something to help enrich the fertilizer and show that their people can be more than warriors and more than more useful. So I'm curious which one of you would have led me to a key discovery to help in these endeavors. Don't all jump at once.
Sorry, I'm fucking with KT.
I think it might make sense for Cassandra to have helped with that. I mean, I'm the most learned here, I would think. You need help uncovering secrets.
Well, and also there's, before we get ahead, I guess, a question that I have, I think it's going to matter, is we have a seeker now. And seekers, literally the reason for the title is they seek arcana. That's kind of their jam. And Cassandra has a couple arcana that largely he's kept secret until recently from the town, or mostly secret. So
Yeah, I wouldn't say I kept it secret. I just didn't tell anybody.
right,
Just
that's how Cassandra would frame. Let me
private,
rephrase.
not secret.
That's quite a distinction. Private, not secret.
Reese would 100% not understand that distinction.
So I guess I'm curious to know, like, if, does Cassandra recognize her arcana? Does he, I'm it's just something I'm wondering about that might have downstream impacts. Also, something else to think about, since Mel mentioned like fertilizer, the recent, it's not upgrade, but improvement, the setting improvement you took, right, was to plant more crops, right? Like outside of the wall, I think. So I wonder if
crops and get more people.
So I wonder if do those things overlap at all? Is there an overlap in that Venn diagram where maybe we work this into how that advancement happened a little bit? Like, does Sonia bring with her some of this alchemic knowledge that might help? Because we know that the outer wall fields were sort of choked with kudzu. I think there's a specific term in the book. I'll have to look into it. But historically it's been very hard to grow things out there because of the grasses from the flats, which are extremely pervasive. So I wonder if there's something there where Sonia, something she brought with her, some knowledge, or literally something like an herb or something to help clear that out. Would that lead into the key discovery? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I don't know where Cassander would keep his bunker, I think is what we were taken to. Like, Sonya wouldn't know where.
It's true.
The only thing I could think of, and again, Cassander, correct me if this is something you're against, or Sean, is that, like, she's working in her alchemical thing, and she has a failed experiment. Fine, it happens. But, so she goes beyond the walls where they're not using the land, where it's not going to affect anything, or so she thinks, and she either trips over the bunker, or ends up discarding what she did, and ends up killing some of the kudzu. So then it leads into, okay, now is the soil viable, or is this going to kill everything, and oh fuck. And I don't know if maybe somebody, but in this case I feel like it would be Reese who brings it, at least to my attention, or maybe sees me doing it without saying anything, sees me dump this ichor, foul-smelling something outside the wall, no danger, no risk, type thing as far as immediate, but then he notices a couple days later that the kudzu in that particular area is dying off.
As much as I would normally love to be the one to do stuff, in this case, I am focused primarily in the wood, and you're going out beyond the wall. So I think we're going in different directions. That being said, and I'm throwing KT under the bus, Ronwin has got a hill folk favor to be checking up on.
I mean, the who, which one of you is keeping secrets for me seemed too obvious, because Cassandra's not sharing information very obviously.
And it depends on how you define how I guess you as a seeker would define keeping secrets. I would
And that's just
not lie to you, right? Like Cassandra wouldn't lie. You might not believe Cassandra, but I don't lie. And if there's something that like I'm not gonna tell you, be like I'm not gonna tell you that. Like I don't know, like it's not your knowledge yet, or you're not like it's too early.
All right, I have a clarifying question for Cassandra then. Any of those items, you found all those items here. You didn't find any in your trip to Stonetop.
Nope.
Because I feel like if Sonya had any indication that you knew anything of the Arcanum, she would ask if you had heard or seen of a chain with locks and faces. She would ask for information about that item that she's got a lead on. Because I think the one who's going to fear the path I tread is going to be Bronwyn too. Because if you notice me as another Arcana, like magic,
if it's like, completely obvious that you're like a freaky magic person, Ronwyn's not gonna interact. And
it's pretty obvious that I'm a shaman of some sort. Maybe
Yeah.
not in the same way that Black Wolf was. But you see the people come to me. You see maybe little acts or little prayers, or prayers being the wrong word, little rituals maybe. And of course the alchemy, which, the lab, the alchemy, I don't know if you would consider that magic.
It's all magic to me. If I don't understand, it's magic. I don't like it.
So.
None of these villagers know anything, Sonia. Like, it's up to us learned folks. I do think, okay, so as far as, I think Cassandra has probably seen some magic stuff before, and has read a lot about the existence of like artifacts, or like that these things exist, and that's why I was also able to realize what I was looking at when I first got here and found the dangerous artifacts in the cave, or not the cave, I guess like the club, whatever Cassandra's clubhouse or whatever John was calling it, the Chronicle, which is and I think I would I mean, I'd be honest, but I don't know anything about that particular magic arcanum. But seeing, and I don't think at first I would tell you about the things that I have. But I think if I see that you are a community leader amongst your own people and like helping them, that you are that you appear to be open and honest when we ask, like, hey, what's your backstory? Like, what are you guys, what are you from? Whatever, like, just the general, like, who are you people when you're coming to move in? And,
Well, Sonya would also, again, very contrary to Black Wolf, she would spend time at the alehouse, the whatever we want to call it, public house. Thank you, because she would want to try to get to know people of Stonetop, and let them get to know her. And also, when drinks involved with her people, she knows how rowdy they can probably get, and things of that nature. So she would be, and I think she would spot very obviously that Cassander is different than the others, and strike up a conversation to that as well, and which is how this all comes up, I'd imagine.
and I think Cassander is going to, would be like, I think cautiously optimistic is what like I there's a lot of danger out there. I don't know if like I'm still new to this village, and it took them a while to get used to just like one outsider, and this is like a bunch of people showing up. So I'm like, I'm not sure if this is gonna be contentious in the village or not. This large arrival, if there's like a drain on resources ever, if people are gonna be like, hey, it's these people's fault, or like if they're going to be,
Sure.
yeah, like so I would, but I think personally Cassander would want for this to work out to the best that it can, and seeing that Sonya also like knows how to read and write would end up like, sort of like I feel like we'd end up becoming friends, even in a way that is just like, well, we have similar interests, even if we're from very different types of cultures and ways of approaching our work. Like I personally, like, I know magic exists, and I kind of like typically have to fight it, not work with it, because it's never in the hands of someone competent or trustworthy.
Yeah.
But I need to learn more about it. So I'd be like, I'm kind of nervous as to what you represent as a magic user, but I'm also like, oh my gosh, this could be the answer to what I need, but it also could be the.
And as far as on a human basis, I think I've established Sonya is going to be, again, as a personality, she's trying to calm the chaos of her own people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a I want to say directive, and that's not the right word, but that is a goal of hers, is to like, we can fit in, we don't have to fight, we can just enjoy the simple things.
So can I want to, before I lose the train of thought, can I pause it here? Because based on the two of you, your conversation, I'm interpreting that as though, based on what Conrad is saying, that Cassander is leery, but not enough to pull away. Like it almost sounds to me like Cassander is trying to get closer to Sonya, not in a conspiratorial way, but in a like, I recognize the danger. You technically, you were not a refugee, Cassander, but you came here from somewhere else. You know how difficult it is to get resettled. And now you found someone, a person with like interests and like wisdom and knowledge. It almost sounds to me that that conversation the two of you were having was more of an answer to which one of you has been at my side the entire way. And it might also be reflected in Cassander recognizing you are still the judge here of this town, and these people might require your judgment, but maybe if you can get to know them now, that it might ease that transition of them being of the town. Am I making any sense?
That sounds like, I think definitely is like, I feel like, especially, I know John's not here, but Killian's role in this would be also like wanting what's best for the town, but I think he would be way more scared of what
100%.
like I think if it was this refugee group without Sonya, he'd be like, great, let's let him in, let's make it work. But with the magic user, he's like, wait, what the hold up, and like that's where there would be contention.
But obviously it's hard for us to go ahead.
Yeah, well, to satisfy that, I was gonna say, I think it's sort of like against Cassander's better judgment, I am becoming better, like quick friends with someone. Like I'm like I really like her though.
Oh.
Like she's like I know I should be a little bit more cautious and like a little bit less trusting right now. And I think so in that regard, like especially if something you do even by accident helps us maintain the outer fields, then I think that would like end up being like, hey, what else do you know? What can I learn from you? And do you know something about, say, this blanket? You know, and I'd show you
Yeah.
like the blanket first.
Yeah, and the thing with Sonya too is because seekers among her people are, though uncommon, not unknown, she wouldn't hide who she is or what she is. She wouldn't necessarily understand the superstitions of maybe someone like Ronwyn, or that other dipshit.
Hey,
That no, 'cause
Price.
that's Price. Thank you. That's anti John's character. She would be very clear in what she like. She'd even like on a nice summer day, she would be outside. Like she'd have like her little lab set up, and she'd be like mixing things and just keeping an eye on like her niece and nephew. You know, as they run around the town or things like that.
I also would like to lay out that I really like to speak to what Conrad was saying. Like Cassander, uh, I'm going to use the expression cozying up, recognizing that that's not quite what's happening here, but befriending Sonya and her people is also kind of a little bit of a slap in Killian's face in the sense that I think Killian personally would be much more reluctant to let anyone into the town, even if Sonya were not here, because everything going on with the town right now, Killian thinks the town is under siege, right? Like Killian thinks that there's a war coming with the Crinwin. And my sense is like Killian would say, no, we don't need anyone else. Like, unless you are soldiers or warriors, we're not welcoming you because we already have our own problems. So I get the sense that
Yeah.
Cassander is like playing the whatever that, I can't think of the whole, I'm thinking of like an acting term, but the foil here to Killian in the sense that you're like, no, we should let them in. Like we should welcome them. And Killian's like, no, like, so that plays into a friction that we've already seen develop between those two characters.
I do think
Yeah.
that would play out if he was here.
I agree.
And I think, but since he's not here, I'm gonna say, I win the
You
day,
win.
right? Like,
I'm gonna say you win. I'm gonna interject and do story for a change. You might win because of Sonya's brother-in-law. Here's a warrior who just ran from a fight and might looking to reclaim his honor, and now all of a sudden Killian has another. Admittedly, he doesn't work with the group yet, but a completely different fighting style that will hopefully help defend the town.
Right. Exactly. I was thinking about that too. And also, I am going to ask, you don't have to answer now, but I am wondering, I feel like Cassandra's mostly given us an answer to this, but I wonder for Ronwyn and Reese, like, do you have experience with anyone from Manreach? And how do you feel about refugees generally and some people from Manreach specifically? Like, are you both like, yeah, it's fine, whatever? I mean, Ronwyn, we know, is likely going to have an issue with Sonya and her magic bullshit, but more generally, like, you know, we know Ronwyn, for example, Reese has not traveled at all. Ronwyn has traveled in abundance. So has she, for example, encountered what is a plural for people from Manreach? Manreachian?
Manners.
Nah, yeah.
Reachers.
Reachers. Ooh, Reachers is pretty good.
I like
Yeah.
creatures.
So speaking of Tom Cruise.
God.
Oh, I didn't even think of We're using the other Reacher. We're using the big guy.
Yeah.
From the-
But yeah, like has Ronwyn encountered Reachers before? How does she is she generally like she probably knows that they are known to be pretty violent. Like, and again, you don't have to answer now, but it's something that I am curious to know because I like that Cassandra is like, yeah, we should let them in. Like, I'm also from this other place and I understand what it is. But like Ronwyn has traveled, Reese has not. So I'm sort of wondering if there's anything we can play off of there.
I think just based on the reputation of people from Manreach, and maybe we can say one of Ronwyn's like travel companions just like was from there, and she heard about just the nature of how they do things in their society. I think she and Killian are not besties, and they don't agree on a lot of stuff, but they agree on this, in that there are a lot of young children now in the village, right? Not just the twins, but like Cassandra's kid is here. Like there's children in the town and a whole group of people, which does include children, but also includes people who are running from a like conflict, and they fight, and we don't know if their grudge is gonna follow them here or if they're gonna include the town in their grudge. And so, like, I don't think Ronwyn's general opinion on violent men is not great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly if Manreach is a patriarchal society.
That was
so, like,
largely my assumption, but yeah.
right. And so I don't know if she's a great, she's a crotchety old woman. She's allowed to have generalizations and opinions about people, especially if she's met like people from that culture and did not like what she saw.
But I also love that the way you framed that, because it is specific to Ronwyn's experience, right? That
Yeah.
I know what it is to bring my problems home with me, or I know what it is to leave my problems behind, conversely. So you recognize that a bunch of refugees are not, they might be empty-handed, but they're not coming empty-handed, right? Like there's something coming with them, whether they intended or not.
If there is anyone who knows what not letting go of my past is, it's Ronwyn.
Right, exactly, right?
Her
Also,
past has been the thing that has defined her before, during, and like it will continue to define her in the future in a way that I think is less constant than most other people. And so when she sees people, she views them through the lens of what baggage are you bringing with you, and is it going to affect everyone here?
that's so, there's a couple points here that are so interesting to me. One, which is, instead of Ronwyn looking at these people, because they maybe don't know Ronwyn, right? So they would be a tabula rasa for her. Like they might be people who would look at Ronwyn as a respected elder. But in Ronwyn's brain, it's like, no, everybody knows about my shameful past, right? Like everybody knows about what I was. So even instead of like making the choice to be like, I could view these people and say they could be allies, they could be friends. They don't know who I am or what I'm about. But instead, Ronwyn's like, no, I can't. Right? Like, I can't trust you. I can't, and also the other thing that I'm wondering about, can everyone still hear me? I feel like my audio just went weird.
Yeah.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
I hear you.
The other question I have for Ronwyn is, I'm sort of fascinated now. Do you think Ronwyn would have had the same reaction prior to Cato having her twins? Meaning, like, I wonder if, you brought up the children, and I'm wondering if there's now, or if there's always been a sense for Ronwyn of, is she being more maternal now because of the twins? Or is that like an ever-present condition with her?
I think it is more now, but it is not just the twins. I think it is like a company, like a rolling ball down a hill that keeps getting bigger. There's the twins, there's Cassander and his fucking kid, and that's weird stuff's happening with Cassander's kid and with Killian's kid. There's the literal child that just died because we sent her out into the woods to die on some fake god shit. Like, I think at this moment, Ronwyn is like, I'm tired of, like, the conflict coming to us. And
we're welcoming potential conflict again here with refugees.
Right. Like, I think this is also part of her being like, I wandered around for like, I don't know, 20 fucking years because I did not want my burden to sit with everybody else. How dare these people bring their burden to here? Like, why can't you do what I did and fuck off?
Oh, that's so toxic masculinity, though. I love it. It's like, I buried my shit. Why can't you do the same? I don't need to see your emotions. I don't need to see your problems. That's really good.
Yeah, well, she's, but again, she's thinking this in her head. Her actions are that she's not interacting with these people.
Right. So yeah, if you see them out and about, you don't talk to them. You know.
I mind my own business. I'm the one-eyed shrew at the edge of town who minds her own business.
Except for the
Literally
fact that you've
the
adopted
exact
a
same
daughter
as-
and grandchildren. But aside from that,
Legally, I haven't. Like, they're not in my family registry. Don't worry about it. They just hang out here a lot.
They just call you auntie. Or
By
they
a
will.
lot, and of
I
course
keep
by a
telling
lot.
them to stop calling me Granny, but they keep doing it. I said, call me Ronwyn, and it's just like goo goo gaga.
Sorry, Jace, what were you going to say?
I think it's and by occasionally, she means more or less press ganged and kidnapped.
Yeah. Also that.
Okay.
You were shanghaied in a place where you did a Shanghai where there's no Shanghai.
Okay. And then what about Reese? Like, how does Reese feel about refugees, about people from Manreach? Like,
I can't. You said it yourself. Reese is not traveled. Reese doesn't. Reese gets out a lot, but never seems to go very far.
like a clock upon the wall, always moving, never going anywhere.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good line.
From a song. I didn't write it.
Still a good line. But I think Reese is worried, but not about what they're bringing with them, in so much as, okay, that's 10 more people to feed, and
Reese is
two of
literally
them-
doing the math.
Well, that's like no, it's like that's 10 more people to feed, and only 2 of which can work because it's a bunch of kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much that he's angry or anything like that. It's just, more work.
It's a lot of people, right? We chose population boom as
Yeah.
our thing, so it's like 40 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying. It's like
they're
But
not,
I do-
It's not 2 adults and 40 kids.
But
That'd
I
be
do
horrible.
like the idea that, and I think Mel's alluded to this too, like most of these people are not like, there's like one strong fighter and mostly a bunch of like younger, not kids, but like, or women and children or people, younger men who are, capable of fighting, but like barely. Like, most of these people were probably farmers and cowherds and shepherds and
Or maybe
Actually,
older warriors who
older folks.
they sustain some kind of injury, so they can do some basic stuff. They can swing a hoe, but their knees act up, their back, their whatever.
I think this might also be. It'll depend very heavily on Reese's initial interactions with the youngins. And I'm going to call them the youngins, not just the kids, but the young people who don't understand how dangerous the goddamn wood is.
Right. Yes.
Oh
These
shit, are
people
they
are
gonna
not
cut
from
down
Stonetop.
trees?
They do
Like,
not know what the.
that's
See,
what I'm
that
saying,
was
like-
actually Conrad.
Oh,
that was one of the
fuck.
things I wanted to do early to kind of put Sonya in this, like, whoa, what's going on? Like,
Is
why
Reese
is there
going to
an
have to
issue?
smack the shit out of some kid who goes to take an axe to a tree?
No, I think they go out to start building their homes. They're used to using like long log like homes. So they get there, they get settled. Yeah, there's a few shacks for some people, but maybe we set up the tents that we've used on the road. But yeah, then there's a slight discussion. Even Sonya's part of it. She doesn't even think about it. It's wood, it's trees, it's great. That's why we want to settle here. They've got all this to use. And then they go out and Reese or Killian or whoa, what are you doing? As they see them going out with like axes and things like that, because they're clearly not going to hunt.
I am absolutely. What the hell just happened? Oh, there it is. I might DM Fiat some bullshit right now. I might just immediately make that a threat because it's so fucking good.
Oh,
I-
that was one of my questions once we got the character builds done. If you were gonna say like, hey, what about opening scenes? I'm like, I want this to be an early scene.
I think that's
Because
great.
that's in
I
my
didn't
brain.
even occur to me. Okay. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it would make total sense that they would just go because the man reachers might not be aware of the prohibition against the tree cutting. It didn't even occur to me.
Even if they are, and even if we tell them,
Would they
How-
care?
Right, yeah.
how seriously are they taking our promise to people who, from our own admission, have been gone for 10 years?
Right. And I can see, like, again, it becomes this whole thing. And I mean, do you want to play this out or like? Because
Well,
I've
let's-
got thoughts in my brain.
Well,
of,
I
like,
was gonna
how
say
it-
because I was also trying to like reframe the conversation around asking your fellow PC stuff to see if anything might emerge out of these questions that I have. So like we know Cassandra's the one that's maybe been at your side. Out of the conversation we've had, I don't think we really hit any of the other questions. But like, are there like I guess more questions for like Ronwyn or Reese? Like, did any of those questions like which one of you led me to a key discovery or which I don't know, is that the key discovery, right? That like we can't, I don't want to say we can't cut down trees, but like, and again, we know that there's dangers now in the Great Woods. Does Reese, for example, not say, hey, there's a shadow that's like going around and like maybe plaguing the wood, or there's now a drake that we might have released onto the, like, is there anything to those other questions?
If that it would happen in the same way we were just kind of describing. This would not be something Reese goes and tells newcomers. Like, Reese doesn't go out looking for these people. But I can very much picture, like, if there's a young kid in the wood that Reese doesn't recognize, like, who are you? What the hell are you doing out here alone? Why aren't you? Where's your weapon? What are you doing?
Yeah, one of the like even I mean Sonya would send out her eldest niece who's 15, I think I said. Oh, get me some more herbs or something like that for my alchemy. You know, there should be plenty in these woods. See what's there. See what's interesting. I've told you what to look for. I've taught you what to look for.
So do we think that's a situation where Reese finds that and says, like, instead of saying, hey, like, it's that adult thing of, hey, it's dangerous out here, you can't be out here like this, but then maybe when it comes up back in town, Reese doesn't explain, and this is the keeping secrets, like, he doesn't explain that, hey, like, there's some really messed up shit happening in the Great Wood.
Maybe because like the way that plays out, just the way it was described, is like Reese sees Eva, who's the 15-year-old niece, like out in the woods as Sonya requested, and hey, you know, what are you doing out here? Where's your weapon? You shouldn't be out here. It's dangerous. And her response is very, I just think of Lae'zel. I know what poison ivy looks like, old man. Relax. As she continues to like pick, and I know what mushrooms are poisonous, you know, and she thinks those are the dangers that he's talking about.
I guess this is a question for you, Mel. Like, do you think that the Man-Reachers, do they think Stonetop and its surrounding areas are safe relative to Man-Reach? Like, because there aren't warring tribes, for example, here, is the implication like this is a soft place?
Soft is a good word. Um, there's no like human conflict, and I think they're arrogant in that there's no natural other than man, for obvious reasons. There's no natural threats here. Like if there's a bear, we can handle it. If there's, you know, a creature we haven't seen that's the same size as a bear, we can deal with it. They're a brute strength. I'm not gonna say low intelligence group of people, but they're arrogant in their prowess.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, they I think when it comes to having natural surroundings of trees and you know marshes and grasslands and things like that, it's like there's nothing we can't deal with here. If we've survived Manreach, we got away. We can handle this.
This place is a cakewalk compared to where we're coming from.
It's got its own challenges. I think Sonya at the very least would make them acknowledge that. Like there will be its own challenges. But as far as feeling physically threatened by something, absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think Reese would keep any of the dangers a secret per se, but he would not tell them to a random kid. And he would consider this person a kid.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, remember, from me here, it's not talking about the kid, it's talking about Sonya. So, like, is there, you know, and again, like, I guess if we can't answer, like, all these questions, that's okay, but, like, you know, this is
Can
really...
I have the list of questions again? Because, like, I've been focusing on the secret one, I forgot what the others are.
Which one of you led me to a key discovery? And then which one of you most fears the path I tread? Which I think makes sense for it to be Ronwin, but again, KT, you're welcome to
And
counter.
again, they don't all have to be answered either.
Yeah. This is just about establishing relationships, how you feel about, you know, the newcomers and...
The only discovery, again, I'm not so much worried about fearing the path at this point. Reese has got other problems. The newcomers are actually really low on the scale, despite their arrogance. But unless, like, I'm telling... If Reese were to find a kid in the wood who didn't know better, he would drag them back to Stonetop, go to their parent, and straight up say, do you have the fucking slightest clue? Or actually, Reese doesn't curse. Do you have the slightest clue how dangerous those woods are, or what you allowed a child to walk into? Do you know what a Crinwin is? Do you know what a Rage Drake is? Do you realize they're both out there? Did you bother to look?
Point of clarification, do you bring this to Sonya's attention or her mother Astrid? Because her mother Astrid, again, would be softer. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. What are you talking about? You're like,
I would
"No."
imagine it would be the actual parent of the child. He wouldn't know. Like, he'd tell the kid, bring me to your parent.
Yeah.
Whoever the kid brought him to.
So Sonya would either learn it secondhand from her sister and then approach you about it, because again, she's a direct woman. So if you're in your little shack finally, once in a
That'd
while,
be
or,
a fucking-
sees you at the tavern, she would walk over with a beer and just. So, you had words with my sister. Are there issues we need to know about? No one told us. Things in the woods?
Yeah, and that would be a conversation. I imagine you actually going to his house like 4 or 5 times and not having anyone there ever.
No one lives there. Bro doesn't even have a door.
It's dark
Right.
and cold. Like it's very
That's
clearly no
another
one's
thing
there.
Sonya would
Cold.
have no concept of. Is like, why do some of these buildings have doors and some don't? Like, even some of the ones without doors, they look beautifully built, like as far as quality for the area, but they don't have doors, but other ones do.
Mhm.
And I don't think she'd put it together of like single versus married or coupled peoples, and she'd be very confused because when they eventually kind of get their own way to figure out building their own homes out of stone or whatnot, there'd be a door on every one.
Yeah, but
Or
no,
they'd want a door on every one, and then it would have to be like. I feel like if we're gonna go into midsummer, after maybe the first few weeks, Sonya would probably using Cassander, if you're the one who's been by my side to help educate me. She would ask for either an audience with the elders or maybe with the people of this group. Like, Cassander, can you get some of the people you know together to help educate me? Because nobody's telling us anything. They're telling us where we can help and things like that, but my niece has had her ass ripped out because she went into the woods. Nobody told us about it. We got our ass ripped into because we tried to cut down trees. Nobody told us about it. Things like that. And she's like, somebody needs to tell us what's really going on here. Because clearly there's more to it.
I do think it's interesting that people from Manreach are like, Stonetop is a cakewalk. These people are soft, but I think socially, Stonetop is a much more difficult place to navigate
Yes,
than Manreach.
absolutely. And again, because Sonya is this seeker essentially type, she's curious and she's educated in a way. She needs information to help keep her people in line, and nobody's telling her anything. But then again, she's trying to keep to her own. Like, it's this weird dichotomy of like, she's in a new place too, and she's made mistakes.
So is this us trying to answer the key discovery question of like, does Reese share with her like is that how we want to frame the discovery?
I don't even know if it's the right phrase for it, but it's the closest we've got. It's like because Reese was an asshole to a child, and Reese would be an asshole to a child because Reese is not used to dealing with anyone that age who doesn't already know better and hasn't been instructed better since birth.
Okay.
And I would definitely facilitate and being like, all right, Reese, like we can't just you need to go and explain to the people the threats of the woods. I can't do it. I don't understand most. Like I know what's out there, but like I don't have like any firsthand. I didn't face this problem because I didn't want to go into the woods when I got here. It didn't matter that no one told me not to go cut down trees because I wasn't gonna go do that.
Oh shit, Sonya's gonna dive into the lake with you.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
Not like
right.
that.
She wouldn't have the aversion to the
No,
lake
no,
either.
but like
Yeah.
I don't have to fucking walk in alone. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that might actually, and I mean, that might be a good place to actually start the game. Is Cassander pulling everybody together, and it gets Sonya invested in helping. Like, oh, these are things I'm curious about. You have these weird creatures. You found this weird sorcerer. Depending on how much is told, like this gets her vested in with the group, and that way, for example, if the hill people call in Ronwyn's favor, she'd want to tag along and say, hey, let me see how we work together. Let me see if I can help. Just a thought. But can we take a bio? I gotta pee.
Sean said
Ooh,
he's be
yeah.
right back, still listening, but I also need to. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to apply
sorry, Sean.
TTRPG.
We know you can't talk back, but we gotta go.
Okay, yep.
Time.
I'll be back probably around 5:25. I don't know if we're gonna call it 5:30. But
Yes.
anyway, gotta pee. Bye.
All right, so I think we're just waiting for KT, right?
I think so. Sorry about that, Sean.
No, that's okay. You're fine. I was saying rude because it sounded like Mel was trying to imitate my voice.
Oh god, no. More trying to imitate the fact that, having a return time. Not your voice.
It's
No.
fine.
You don't sound like that to me at all.
That's fine. It wasn't actually rude. I was just kidding anyway. All right. KT said when back, so she, I guess, is back. All right. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for dinner.
I
all right.
recommend chicken.
Well, I'm thinking about dumplings, some dim sum maybe. Nothing else really sounds good. I don't even know if I don't want to go out. It's snowing and it's cold. I just don't know if I want to cook anything. Any hoozle. So, where were we? Stonetop.
Yes, maybe picking up with Sonia, meeting the group, and kind of getting the lowdown on all the weirdness.
Yeah, let's make sure there's nothing else in your character sheet I think we have to do. You already chose all of your background options, your appearance. We know what your place of origin is. I guess the only other question I had, and I think we've sort of gotten an answer to it passively, is the question to Sonia, like, why Stonetop? I mean, it's pretty far from Manreach. I mean, is it just...
Exactly.
So it's a distance thing? Is it all, like, because Sonia and her people think this place is safe? And I guess, and maybe a different way to frame the same question is, like, why not, if it's a distance thing, why not Barrier Pass? Why stop here?
I think it's a matter of this place still seems, at least in Sonia's opinion, fairly young. It's small. It's a place where her people can be part of something new and help build this place up. It is established enough that she thinks that there will be some stability to help them transition, but at the same time, she doesn't want to have to build from the ground up, for lack of a better.
But it's also, yeah, I think that makes sense, though, that it's small enough. It's not like you're moving into a massive city where you're going to have to fight with, like all of the, right, like the politicking and everything else. You might still have to deal with that, but, smaller population means more room for growth, more room for, like, if they need help, there's ways you can help them, whereas you might not be able to do so in a city.
Yeah, exactly. But also, it seems like a place that's out of the way, off the beaten path. Like, even if people do chase them, for whatever reason, would they come this far? Would they look at a small place like this for a group of 40 or 50 people, assuming none have split off? Like, there's nothing here that traditionally should attract our people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, traditionally, historically, maybe. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Okay. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's probably like mid to late summer as you arrive. We're probably getting into the dog days where it's quite hot. The folks of Stonetop, I mean, how are the other people, like, in the weeks leading up to this? How are most Stonetopians spending their time? Because, again, we know that, like, not a lot of, you might be clearing some fields, but most of that work is probably done by now, right? The improvement you took. And, farming doesn't, the nice thing about farming is once the seeds are planted in spring, you don't really ideally have to do anything again until late fall when you do the harvest. So how are people spending their time? I think last time we established, like, Reese still going out in the woods, still hunting, but definitely a little more paranoid, a little bit more on the lookout, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think Cassandra was mostly doing chronicle stuff, getting stories.
Teaching, reading, and writing.
That's right.
Sophia, and then anyone else who wants to learn, which you said there were a couple.
Yeah, a couple people might show interest.
Yeah, most people don't really care about it because,
right. Doesn't matter on a day in, day out basis to most people, but yeah. I wonder if, I guess, yeah, without John here, like, would Killian, Because I think I don't know if Killian knows how to read and write. I don't remember if that was established or not. Like, I wonder if he would send his adopted daughter to you to learn to read as well. Sienna.
I think he does, but I don't know if he like, you know, seeks out now like that type of that he values his ability to read and write. Like, probably learned it because he needed to learn some of the history of his family and the job of being the marshal kind of thing. But maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Okay, and then Ronwyn, how is she spending her time?
Babysitting.
Babysitting. And I think summer is like peak horse season. I don't know what horses do, but it feels like a horse time. Something to do with the horses.
Horse girl summer.
Horse girl summer. When and I guess I clarification when you say babysitting, because I mean Cato's twins are still nursing, right? They can't crawl. This is they're
She means
a couple.
literally sitting on the babies. Is
Well, right, but my question is more like, is it sitting the babies or is it sitting Cato?
It's that's the baby.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was clear.
Okay,
Sorry.
I was like, and well, I also wonder like, does Ronwyn like for example, does she? I mean, the babies are sleeping most of the day anyway. But like, if the babies are awake and Cato needs to nap, I assume Ronwyn would like watch the babies for an hour or two.
Cato has knit this contraption
Oh
where
Lord.
put one baby in the front and one in the back.
For Cato or for Ronwyn or both?
For Ronwyn. I don't know. I think Cato has.
It's a twin baby Bjorn. Is that what they're
Yeah,
called?
we call it
Bjorn.
a baby Ronwyn here.
Yeah.
Does
You invented it.
I have to ask though, does Ronwyn leave the house with it and the babies?
If she does, she doesn't go into town.
So she does, but is there a chance that anyone sees her doing this?
I think at this point, Ronwyn, like, it's not a secret that Ronwyn helped Cato, like, get through the extremely dangerous twin pregnancy. And I don't know that Arthel wouldn't, like, tell people that, like, oh, like, not to say we couldn't do it without her, but, like, also, I don't think they could have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it is surprising or people dislike seeing Ron with the babies, but that's up to you to judge how long and how intense that grudge is, if it exists.
It's not so much for me. I'm not thinking about a grudge. I'm thinking about like, to the people that know her history, watching Ronwyn shuffle around a couple very small babies. It's not like, I don't think Price is probably going to spread rumors that you're going to eat the babies because he's an asshole. But
Like, is it a believable rumor?
well, no, I mean, he doesn't mean it literally. He means like, I think she's a danger to the babies. Like, because he doesn't like you. He doesn't, he was, again, one of the people who's definitely opposed to your return. But more my curiosity is about other people where, again, the people who know your history here, it's not like, oh, she's going to hurt them. It's like, this softens you to them. Right? To them, this is like, oh, look, she's, like it's not, they're not worried so much as it's just a little weird. Like, to a woman they know to be violent and to have this history, but to suddenly see you trucking around a couple cute little babies, it's like, oh, it's cute in like a curious way. It's like someone who's always said they hate cats to suddenly find out that they have like a cat draped around their neck.
Yeah. But also, like, the people who would have known what I've done, and, like, knew it personally, would have known me before I left, right?
Yeah,
And if that's the case, they would have known that I was a midwife.
that's true. Yeah.
Maybe they forgot, and they remembered. They're like, wait, wasn't she a midwife?
Right. It like brings back memories of you having done this 30 plus years ago.
Like,
Like-
there was a wrong one before she was the heavy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there was a person before the violence, right before the exile. That this person, yeah, it's like weirdly memory inducing for some of the elders to see this because they can flash back to a time when this was normal. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I
Okay,
think also, but she still would not like truck the babies around town. Like,
right.
I'm taking them on a walk outside,
But they
kind
see
of.
you at like the edge of town. They see you,
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, exactly, like near the wall or something like that. Just getting the
Right.
baby some sun.
Out of
Mhm.
curiosity, how does Ronwin feel about the fact that the town is no longer just within the town, and now we're like planting a bunch of fields out in what was the outskirts where you lived? Now there's a bunch of people all around, like digging trenches, like tilling
So many people
fields,
on my
and
fucking lawn.
like there's like 7 people out near your house
Lawn.
instead of nobody.
Yeah, it's honestly in a super boomer way. It's so annoying. Like, I moved out here to be alone and to be a one-eyed true in peace. First it was Cadle. Now what are all these people doing here? Like, where are my 3-hour walks in the distant, like, alone? Where did they go? I can't. I gotta walk like into the literal woods to get my alone time at this point. Like, why there's so many people here now?
God, you sound like my mother.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm
wrong that
channeling my inner boomer. Okay.
I can only picture Reese going up to Ramen when she's got the 2 kids in like a papoose? Congratulations, you have potatoes.
Ron looks around. Potatoes don't grow in the summer. Does being out in the woods addled your brain that much?
The children look like potatoes.
She like looks down at them. Or looks at Maurice. Maybe it's a good thing. Yeah, never mind. And sort of just pats you on the shoulder and like walks around you.
Talk about how much time Reese spends in the woods. And
Maybe
what
it's a good thing
babies
you
look
did not
like.
get to shut up with what's her face.
Reese doesn't think babies are cute. Reese thinks babies are potatoes.
Well, I got potato in the front, potato in the back. One is Spud and one is Tater.
That is fantastic, and
Yeah,
I'm going to call the kids that from now on.
Spud and Tater.
They're the tater tots.
Oh, my Tater.
Exactly.
When they're toddlers, the Tater
Yeah.
Tot. Oh. They had such nice names too, Reagan and Wendell.
Sean, meanwhile,
No.
crying silently.
No, I'm here for this. I also, now that it's been brought up, I don't know why I can't get the image out of my head. How does Reese keep himself from being constantly sunburned? Like being like sun addled has got me thinking like is like, and I do wonder like the way you've described it, Reese, I don't want to say paranoid, right? But he's been out quite a lot, right, with everything that's happened.
Oh, yeah. No, Reese... I think it's less that Reese is constantly... Like, it's a combination of things. Let me start there. Number one, Reese has been constantly sunburned for like 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, your skin just gets that leather texture.
Right.
The other thing is that Reese spends most of his time in the wood. He has a lot of natural cover from the sun between the actual treetops and the fact that he hunts from a blind generally, or from cover. Is it perfect? No, he's still a leathery guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like
But-
how would anyone tell if he had like spent too much time out in the sun? Like there would be no way to know.
The best way that you'd be able to tell if Reese spent too much time in the sun, of all things, would be like, have you ever recovered from a really bad sunburn and gotten that peeling skin?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Nasty.
Yeah, but Reese wouldn't. That's how you tell, but Reese wouldn't be itching or pulling at it because it would just be such a constant life problem that he's learned to ignore it. So you can tell Reese has been out in the sun too long. When he's walking away from you, you can see the back of his neck and it's just peeling away.
Mm.
Ugh.
Okay. So yeah, you guys, this is how you're spending your summer days. And I think, yeah, toward that, when we get into the dog days, we see this large group of refugees walking on the Maker's roads, which we know are easy to travel on, right? Almost regardless of the weather, right? They're clean, they're level, it's easy walking. It does. I probably should have been looking this up, and I didn't think to. Um, to get to Stonetop from Manreach, I mean, it's probably at least a month of travel, I would assume. So Sonia and her people have been traveling for the better part of a month. And I guess, is this, Sonia, to you? Is this have you like stopped in at other towns? Was Stonetop always your destination?
No, I think we've wandered. We've maybe stopped here and there, maybe not in towns, but outside towns, where a few people were able to maybe like scope it out to see if it might be a good place to stay, things like that. Or even if we have stayed into maybe some of the bigger cities too. Like we might have been run out by a few just because we are chaos incarnate as a people. Despite Sonya's influence, again, bigger cities would have more of a way to like, no, we ain't dealing with your shit, get out, with guard forces, things like that, that Stonetop doesn't necessarily have.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is a place Sonya, I think, feels comfortable, like, we can give this a shot, where I can have time before they're going to be able to kick us out, at the very least.
Okay. So yeah, toward the latter part of the summer, we see a fairly large group of refugees. I'm curious to know who. It would probably have to be one of Killian's crew that alerts Killian, and then um, I assume many people in the town, like the crew, will not be able to keep the town from going to see what's going on. Like I think that's out of the question. It's too exciting for these folks to not go and be like, what's going on, right? There's a bunch of people who are like arriving at our door. So do the rest of you all go to like gawk and see what's going on?
I think I would go initially to hear that there's new people coming into town just in case. I think Killian would probably maybe ask me to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that he would come to you to be like, hey, we've got some strangers coming in. Maybe we could use your help.
Especially once he sees that big guy that they're with.
It's true.
I would also go to, take note of everybody who's coming in.
I don't know if Reese would be in town to know.
I don't know if Reese would be there. Reese learns like 2 weeks
I'd
later.
imagine Reese comes back and there's just tents everywhere.
He's like, what's happened? Who are these people?
Who are you? Are we enemies? Why are you within these walls? Where's Buttercup? Couldn't help it, I'm sorry.
Okay, so yeah, we see all of these refugees arriving in Stonetop. Is it? I guess I'll ask. Mel. This is more a question for you. Like, what do you think you would like? Wait nearby and go first thing in the morning, or would you? Do you think that would matter at all?
I think that we're just walking down the Maker's Road. We maybe know of Stonetop, we've heard of it, maybe something to that effect, maybe not. So we had picked up camp the night before, and I imagine us hitting. Essentially, what we did is actually, point of clarification. The boon of the increased population happens at the end of spring or in summer.
In summer.
I guess.
In summer,
Okay.
yeah.
So if we're kind of peak summer times, like we were just about at that point where it's like, okay, we need to find some place to wait out the midday heat, and then we see this little hamlet of sorts just down the road, and it's like, nope, we're gonna push through because maybe this is it. This is the place. So we get there maybe just around midday.
Okay, so right around noon. I imagine most people in town at this time are probably trying to keep out of the heat. Like they're staying indoors, they're staying in shade. Aside from Reese, who's definitely out in the wood.
Yep.
Excuse me. Yeah, so you guys roll up on the town. What does that look like?
I imagine, again, being the group that we are, and Sonia being the leader of an extent, or her clutch here being the more leadership bent. she's not right up front. She's like front middle. She's probably got there's a few of the younger jumpy warriors maybe at the front, kind of acting as a front guard. And then at the back, there's a few at the back with most of everybody else herded in the middle. But Sonia, again, she's kind of standing out a bit as we see people. And there's like there's a hum of conversation. I don't know if Man March would have their own language, necessarily, but there's like this hum of maybe excitement or curiosity among her people, and she's kind of, and she starts kind of doing that step up to move towards the warrior folks. I don't know if anybody from the town would approach the group before they reach the walls, though.
I assume Killian and his crew for sure, probably with Ronwyn would, and again, Kissander would be welcome too as well. I think they would absolutely approach. And basically, like, you know, again, I'm just going to play one of Killian's crew, obviously, since John's not here, and I feel like that's weird. I think one of the crew is definitely like, halt, strangers, travelers, who goes there? And I think normally this is not something that would happen, right? Because merchants would be known to be welcome to come to Stonetop, like other people might arrive. It's not that you're arriving, it's the numbers and the state in which you're arriving, I think, that gives them pause.
Nobody told me to halt. They were just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"Who
Well,
the
because you
fuck
were,
are
yeah, it was you and one kid. Like,
Yeah.
It was you and two people.
yeah, so
I
Like,
the
maybe
crew
I came
asks,
with a merchant that left as soon as I got here, you know, like.
Yeah, and imagine one of the front guard like starts to get uppity, and Sonia, she has that walking staff or stick or whatever, as she has it again, the top of it kind of bound in leathers and whatever, and he starts to get uppity about this guard and like step to him, and Sonia just brings that out and whack to the back of his knee.
you attack one of the
No,
crew?
no, my guy.
Or
My guy
Oh,
gets uppity,
oh.
like one of the front guard, like, you know, who are you to stop me? Who are you to stop us? Because again, we're warring people. We're used to conquering, and she's like, nope, none of that. We've learned that lesson.
How does Ronwyn react to seeing that? That sudden
I,
impulse of violence.
what weapon would Killian give me for this? I think I would rent one out from the.
I don't know. What would you ask for? What would you expect to be given?
For situations like this, there's nothing like a mace.
Nothing like a mace. It's good for armor.
Mace.
Good for hitting
Yeah.
hard.
Nothing like a mace. And so you just hear like sort of the jangle of like the. I almost said chain because I was thinking of that thing,
No.
That's a
That's
flail.
a flail.
the flail. Okay, can I have a flail instead?
Yeah, you could. It's probably pretty simple, but yeah, it could. It could have a flail.
Yeah, I think it's like that guy growls or whatever he does. And it's like you like push him back, but in the like sort of dead air. After that, there's just like the jingling of the flail chain.
Ooh, I like it. Like it's like it was rolled up, like you weren't ready to fight it, and then you just like let it dangle, like you're about
Yeah.
to fucking like whip it at somebody.
We hear the tightening of the chain,
It's-
right, as
yeah,
the
it's
mace head
the-
drops.
Equivalent of the drawing of the sword, but
Mm-hmm.
or the
And-
loosening and the scabbard noise that you know.
Yeah. And I imagine Sonia again walks up, and her brother Elias, her brother-in-law Elias, comes with her. Again, this large hulk of a man who puts his arm then on the kid's shoulder, and like just a silent kind of communication, pushes him back type thing. And Sonia just kind of, pardon the youth. We are seekers of a new home. We are looking to move on from previous experiences. We were hoping this might be a place for us. And she'll just kind of smile. We are farmers. We are hunters. We are, and she's gonna look to the kid. Warriors, though impulsive. We have a lot to offer.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Would it be out of character for Killian to ask you to, if you do intend to come into the town without force, which is not 100% right now, ask you to lay down your weapons, like
Relinquish your arms.
relinquish your weapons if you're going to enter the town, and we'll talk about it.
I think, I think we can all input here since John's not here, but I do think that seems like a thing that Killian would ask. I mean, it's as much about protecting the town as it is about you demonstrating your willingness to play by the rules.
And I think there'd be conversation, and Sonia
Yeah.
would, again, having come forward with her brother-in-law, and maybe one or two others, I will talk to my people. Perhaps come up with a compromise. You have to understand. We don't know you as much as you don't know us. Give me a moment. And she'll move back to her people and kind of have a conversation.
I'm going to pause it here. Elias fucking hates this. Hates
does.
it.
And she'll return a compromise, if you're willing. We'll leave most of the people camped outside the town a ways, where we were last night. Far enough away you could see us coming. But a few of us will come in and let you get to know us, and we will lay down our arms. But the arms stay with the people who stay outside. You have to understand these weapons are many an heirloom and cherished.
I'm going to ask a leading question here. Because I think my sense, and Cassandra and Ronwin are welcome to input since you're here, I think Killian would be amenable because we know narratively that, oh no, didn't I see? Sonia carries this staff, even though the head of it's covered. Right? It's a short staff, but it's still, I mean, I kind of assume based on its art, at least, it looks almost a little bit more mace-like than a staff.
I have it being a little longer than that, but yeah, it's not, again, traditional, like... It's a fucking...
Right. It's like you said, it's about waist high or a little taller, but it's still big enough to constitute a weapon, and we can't see the head of it. So I think Killian would say, like, would be amenable, but would gesture to the staff as if to say, that has every appearance of being a weapon. Meaning, like, if you're coming in, I would expect you to relinquish your weapon as well. Leave it with your people.
I think I would remind Killian that includes whatever magical weapons you may have.
Well, you wouldn't know she's innately magical. Oh, you're just saying in general?
Ronwin sees your tattoos. She's gonna assume you're magical.
Yeah, I was going to say Ronwin is, I think,
Ronwin's
making
the
an...
person he judges.
Yeah.
Yes, Ronwin is extremely judgy and making an assumption, which in this case happens to be correct, but...
And I think... And I can see, Sean, if I may, Elias getting, like, uppity about this, because he knows what the staff is, and what it does, and I think, again, she'd kind of give him a sharp look.
Yeah, I think Elias is kind of
Elias
growly.
is one of the ones... Yeah, and I imagine he's one of the ones who want to stay on the outside, because though... the words that she speaks is true and she has the best of intentions. Elias, in his head, knows that if the people that go in get fucked, we can still raid the shit out of them. It doesn't matter if we're half a day away. They don't know what we can do. So I think he wants to stay with the people with the arms, but is willing to let Sonya go in.
I think, I kind of wonder if Elias doesn't want to just leave. Like, is this
He
worth,
totally does.
like he wants all of you to leave.
Well, he's also used to being more nomadic, I imagine. Like,
Yeah.
He doesn't want to find a place to settle down. Like, but again, he's got his wife and his kids to think about, which is probably the only thing keeping him even remotely level.
Why don't you, I think the rest of you can tell. I kind of want this to be a role, maybe. I think Elias is, not only is it nomadic, but he is, like, again, that sort of historical, violent impulse is there within him. And he doesn't like, I mean, you're asking for something that you should be taking, right? Like, you're trying to play nice. You're trying to be civilized. And to him, this is not civilized. This is weak. But I do like you referencing his kids, like, remember what we left behind. So I think I would like a charisma roll, a persuade roll via NPC. to convince Elias to like hear me, listen to me, remember your children. And I think that's like the reason for him to, if it's convincing, that might be why. Is Mel looking for the role, or
No, I'm wondering if I hold any authority over him.
that's, yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah.
Because I have no charisma. Would I have any authority over him in this?
Strengthen your bond with a member of your community.
When you persuade your followers while holding
Right.
authority, I'd have advantage, essentially.
Tell me how, I think, just tell me narratively how in the past, in your journey, how have you strengthened your bond with him?
There have probably been times where she, again, if she's let his nature come through. I can see maybe one time early on, while they were still leaving their lands, essentially. They passed a small village, and, you know, they were, but he had that, he wanted to do what they do. And she didn't stop him. Like, yeah, we're leaving this life behind, but you know what? We need extra shit for the road. We might as well get our last hurrah and let him get it out of his system. So she's let his leash loose just often enough that he trusts her to some extent.
Well, I
He's
like
just
that.
trying to fight against his nature, which is hard because he grew up in this.
Right.
It's been 4 decades.
I like this because it's like, it's a passive way of your character saying, we will do what's necessary if it becomes necessary, like I have let you do in the past. It was necessary then. It may become necessary now, but let's try this other method first.
Yes.
So he knows in the past you have let him indulge, which is a poor choice of words perhaps. But I think, yes, that'll give you an authority over him. So you can go ahead and roll plus advantage.
Okay. Persuade NPCs gods. Here we go. Okay,
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Double sixes first roll as the new character. How about that?
It's advantage.
Still, yeah. You would have gotten a soft hit either way, like 7.
Yeah,
so
so-
on a 10 plus, I think they either do what you want or reveal the easiest way. And I think he's going to do what you want, not only because of the recollection of you letting him off the leash, but again, I think very specifically calling out his children, like who have, by the way, been on the road for up to the better part of a month, if not more, who are tired, who, are, even though the Maker's roads are not dirty, right? It's still, you're tanned from being under the sun. It's hot. It's in the summer. Like he looks at his kids and his wife at Astrid and recognizes like, we could do with a rest. And, again, you have sort of let him, indulge when the time became necessary. And so he kind of will grunt his assent to say like, fine. Again, he's not happy, but he understands that at least for the moment, this is necessary.
Yeah, and I imagine the group that go in would be probably Sonia, her sister, the youngest child. The older two can stay with Dad. Again, it's again to keep that link between them that like one way or another we're gonna come back together because Sonia's made it very clear her family's what's important and that's why she's doing this. But getting back to the original conversation as far as the staff being a weapon, and she would kind of, and again, she has a more youthful appearance, but I think Ronwyn at the very least would notice maybe the age in her hands that seem older than what her face visually appears, as she kind of does that thing where she kind of brings it up and tosses it until she can grab like middle of the rod itself. This stays with me, but I will hand it over to your... And I think her eyes would scan the group. Would she recognize Cassandra right away as somebody either of faith or of any kind of non-hick bent?
Wow. Holy shit. Shots fired right away.
Coming here to beg to stay in our
He's not saying that aloud.
Holy shit.
Oh, wait, hang on. That's an episode title. What did you say? Non-hick what?
Non-hick bent.
Non-hick bent. Love it. Great.
Like these are backwater folks. They're not warriors, but she would might necessarily recognize Cassander as somebody of station. Maybe is that something when he comes? Would he come in that kind of presence?
I do think that I would have. I don't know if I would have anything indicating like I am necessarily the judge or devout in any way, but I would have probably like a couple books on me because I probably would have been in the middle of teaching people some reading when I heard, oh, there's people, a large group of people is coming. I'm like, all right, well, class dismissed, go play,
Yeah.
do whatever. I'm gonna go check this out, and I have a book and some scroll and some parchment. And I'm taking some notes and maybe some sketches as you guys are coming in, and
yeah, and as she kind of scans, I will.
And I'm clearly an outsider as well too. Sorry. Yeah.
I will leave it with the local keeper, and she'll kind of motion it towards you, Cassander. And she says keeper, capital K, not alluding to what she is necessarily, but understanding that there's keepers of lore, educated people maybe necessarily, who might understand the weight of handing over an heirloom at the very least. It is not dangerous to you, but I will hand it over if that makes you more comfortable.
I can keep it safe.
And I think Killian would fucking hate this.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this.
Wait, sorry.
I would say that saying I would keep it safe is to both Killian and Sonia. Being like for Sonia, I'm like, I'll keep it. I'll make sure nothing happens to your staff. Like you'll get it back. Like it'll be safe in my hands. Don't worry. And the Killian, I'm like, I won't let this harm our community. This thing, like, I have fucking dangerous shit. I know you don't like it, but the things that I have not caused a problem to the town. Like, I know the blood thing scared you, but I didn't do the blood thing. That was that girl who died.
Yeah, that was the dead
now,
girl.
So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
we're fine.
So, you were right.
Yeah, and how is Ronwyn feeling about this transaction?
I think she like reminds Killian about the magical weapon, but I think she's kind of zeroed in on this huge growling man who she can sense like there's entitlement, there is violence, and there is the like barely caged sort of vibe to him that she does not enjoy.
Well, and I think like
you bring to an asking for something function.
Yeah, and I think more than that, maybe Elias sort of is like, he's a warrior, right? He's established. He's a fighter, a soldier, a warrior. And as Ronwyn does, you have to be good at sizing people up quickly. So Ronwyn clocks him as maybe being the biggest threat, but he also clocks you. Right? Not only the subtle flail drop, which I'm not picking up there's anything subtle about Reachers, especially Elias, but to him, that's a little like, what's that?
Bring it.
Well, I was going to say wagging a dick, but yes, like it's a little like he clocks that as like a little threat or a little invitation. So I think Elias is like noted. Ronwyn sees your missing eye, probably sees, you with the weapon. And
2 babies.
The babies are at home. I did not bring.
I was gonna say shit. Did you have
I didn't bring
babies?
my kid either.
that would have been so much better, though. The tableau of her having baby Bjorn with a flail, that'd have been great.
I'm now picking the 2 baby is in a papoose and a flail, and Jason just freaking cringed because every time I've swung a flail, I've hurt myself.
Yeah. But I think Elias has noted Ronwyn as maybe there's even for you, Ronwyn, a sense of like he would kind of fight you just to see what would happen, either to prove himself or to like,
It'd be perfectly normal in their society to just have, again, to brawl outside the bar is normal. It's sport. It's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it doesn't matter who wins or loses. Like, it's not necessarily to the death. It's to whoever gives up. And then even if you lose, it's like, hey, you fought good, whatever. It's just part of their more barbaric side.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I think part of why Killian brought Ronwyn here is that, like, yes, he's like a militia of men, but there is nothing like having a singular old woman with one eye and a flail just kind of
Talk
standing
about
there.
easily underestimated by her people too, like by
Yeah.
Sonia's people.
Like if there's a
Like,
group
yeah,
of
you're,
people,
you're seasoned, but
like we are not as soft as we appear,
Hmm.
sort of vibe.
Yeah, I also I'm just amusing myself at the idea of like if you having brought all your children with you to this. So it's probably, but it's interesting too though that like the Reachers do have kids with them in obvious sight, because that is a way historically of being like, hey, we're cool, we have kids with us, we don't want violence either. Like just the mere presence of them does flag that in some way, even if this encounter does seem kind of stressed.
and I will say that when Sonia walked up after the first conversation with her people to make this negotiation, she does come up with her sister, who has this little 4-year-old cherub-cheeked little one on her hip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, you will agree to give the staff to Cassander to head in and have a conversation.
Yep. And as we head in, I figure it'd be Sonia, the sister, the young one, maybe a handful of maybe the older folks who might do better with having a solid bed.
Well,
But
and
who
getting
also
out of the
can, like,
sun.
well, also they can mingle better. Like they're old. They're definitely not a threat necessarily.
The olds can mingle, is what you're saying.
At least as far as anybody would know, you know, they wouldn't be as much of a threat. But as we kind of follow the group in, I think Sonya would fall into step next to Xander. I do have one favor to ask, if you were to keep that with you. Just very softly. Keep the cloth on it. And she'll just kind of give you a pointed look.
How does Reese feel about that?
No, she says it very quietly,
or-
just to Cassander.
Cassander, sorry. Yeah, how does Cassander feel?
How did I get
Well-
involved in this?
It's funny because I wouldn't have touched it. Like, right? This is somebody else's belongings. And so I would have just been like, I'll just hold on to this and leave it, or like stash it in my little chronicle where I can lock the door with the magic seal. And but now that she's been like, don't touch the cloth.
Don't push
Now
the
I'm
button.
probably like, actually, I would like to, because I also as leveling up, which I do. I had like 13 points. I'm gonna level up.
Oh, okay.
Took another thing for Seek Insight, which is like when I seek insight, I can ask what is. Let me see. I gotta open my playbook again. Vision Unclouded. When you seek insight, you can always ask what here is hidden by illusion or magic, for free, even on a 6-.
Ooh.
So like because she's telling me to keep it hidden, I'm like, is this more than it seems? Like I thought this was like her weapon. Like, you know, I didn't think of this as a magical totem that I was taking from her when she first gave it over. But now that there is something that it's covered for a reason, it's not just like maybe you're covering it because it's got like some sharp bits and you use it as a walking stick at the same time. So like, you know, but now I'm like, wait, what is it that you just gave me? Which
So you're doing that the inquiry on the item or on me?
yeah, on the item, like more. I'm not gonna ask you directly what it is, but I'm gonna like just look at it without I won't disrespect her wishes at this one. She hasn't done anything that makes me think she's a threat at this point. Handing me this, even as is like showing that she's trying not to be a threat. So, I would try to be respectful in that regard. But now I'm far more curious of what it is that I am holding.
Sure. And I think as you're sitting there, if I may, Sean,
Yeah.
holding it, and you're staring at it for a minute, kind of considering it, I think the hairs on the back of your neck rise up, like something is maybe staring back at you, but not like from behind you, but like literally in your hand. You get the sense that the staff is somehow seeing you back, or trying to get a sense for you as much as you're trying to get a sense for it.
But I also, yeah, and I wonder if Cassandra's read of that is more like that's happening because of the item or because you're like nervous about it. You know what I mean? Like now that Cassandra's like a little weirded out. So there might be a question there, but Cassandra, it sounds like you're trying to seek insight. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, yeah. I want to see if this what is it that I'm looking at this here? Is it, you know, is it just a club or a cudgel, or is it something? I've seen a number of dangerous artifacts now.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll plus wisdom for seek insight. 7. One question plus you get.
I get what here is tainted by chaos. I haven't edited this to add in
Right.
the new vision unclouded, and what here is hidden by illusion or magic.
Okay, I gotta.
I guess wrapped up in that, like as the one free question would be, what here is not what it appears to be.
I almost feel like these are more questions for Sonia. Like I'm happy to input, but you mean it?
So, what here is tainted? I don't know if I could say this.
Well, it's
is
not-
tainted
it's not-
by chaos.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
it
fair.
is
Yeah.
technically either. Yeah.
It's not tainted by chaos, but I will say, and again, Sean, you can correct me. I will say that you do get the vague sense that there is the potential for chaos. Not that it's tainted by it. That kind of definitely leads to, like, it depends on the user and how it is used, or maybe how it affects the user specifically. And then you said what here is not as it appears to be, or what was the other question?
I get what here is hidden by illusion or magic, which I don't know if that tells me.
That doesn't give you anything because nothing's hidden by illusion or magic. I don't
Yeah,
believe.
and then
looking
what
at,
what here is not what it appears to be, which would just be like, you know, you gave me
though-
what looks like a staff that's covered in a cloth. What is it more actually?
While this definitely could be a weapon, I think you as somebody who wields your own mace, hammer, you know how the weight of one of those things is supposed to be and how the balance is supposed to work. And this is awkward. It's definitely not meant to be a weapon. It's definitely awkward in the hand, and maybe there's a slight tingle in your feeling that yes, there's definitely maybe a magical bend to this item.
Yeah, so yeah, picking up on that kind of stuff, and I would give you a, I think sort of like I'd give you that like raised eyebrow of curiosity, but then I'd be like, as you wish.
And she'll and again she'll just give you a friendly smile and, as I said, it is no danger to you, and I mean that. So long as you keep that cloth on.
Just gotta add something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's such a drop. Like it's fine as long as you don't look at it.
Like I have got one of those too. I've got a painting, just don't look at it, or you know, a stone, don't look at it.
Definitely don't bleed near it. Good God.
Yeah.
All right, so Cassandra has control of the staff for now, and Killian. I think, by the way, like during this interaction, like Killian has probably summoned, because I think at any given time he has two, like he's got, or no, he only would have two because they're in 8-hour shifts. He definitely tells them like one at the back of you and one toward the front, and he'll stay in the middle with you. Killian will. And I definitely think like some other people have come to the town edge to see what's going on because this is absolutely weird and curious. And yeah, you guys head, I assume you had probably, Killian would probably take you to the public house.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, I think it tracks, and if anyone wants to disagree, you're welcome. But like, I think in a situation like this, they would, well, would they, I guess? Do we think that they would dole out food for travelers? Or would they want to hear you out first? I mean, you know, we know food can be challenging.
We've said that we want to establish a home here. They might put out lighter fare, I would think, maybe. But again, everybody else can weigh in. Just, again, to make that good impression while this conversation is happening, to be, I want to say hospitable hosts, but I'm not sure if that's the right phrase either.
I mean, I definitely think they would give you some ale, probably, right? Something that's got, like, calories to it, some carbs, something to like cool you down from the summer heat. I don't think they would share like whiskey or something of
No,
finer
no,
quality, but
Yeah, I don't think we put out anything. I'm trying to think of like Stonetop as a town. We don't get a lot of visitors, except merchants.
Right.
The merchants we get, we always try and keep very. I would imagine we want to keep good relations to because we're a little out in the sticks place that if they stop coming, we're kind of fucked.
right, you need them to make this a regular stop on their journey, sure.
So I would imagine we have at least some kind of small stock of ale and again, really like
I was thinking just bread.
yeah, leftover stew, like bread and broth, not even a full stew,
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
it's something we don't have a lot, but this is what we have and we're sharing it.
And it's the sharing, I think, that probably matters.
Yeah, again, I imagine most of the when it comes to the merchants, I'd imagine there's a place that we put them up in town if they're going to be because they don't just show up for a day and leave. They're there for like 3 or 4 days, so everybody has a chance to see them.
And I think Sonya, even just seeing bread and broth, like this simple offering, which again, and maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't know what to expect. It's very different from, but she might just assume that maybe they had a really harsh harvest last year and a rough winter and things like that. Like, okay, we can help with this. Like, okay, this is something we can help with. But yeah, we're more mouths to feed, but we're also more hands to work the fields, and we bring our own knowledge. So I don't think she might still see potential in this and not be worried by it.
I'd like to ask a question here. So Sonia, you've never been to Stonetop before, right? You've probably never heard much about it, if anything. So when they're walking you to the public house, you're seeing some other sights, right? You're obviously seeing the stone, right? They have a granary, they have the cistern, they have the pavilion of the gods. Obviously, there's a great number of houses and huts and things for everyone. You had mentioned earlier, like, is the lack of doors the first thing that grabs her? I'm curious to know, like, what is the thing that Sonia is most surprised by or taken with, like, that grabs her attention on the journey to the public house?
No, because I think she'd look more at the storage structures and the working structures, the granary, the temple to the gods, the things like that. She wouldn't necessarily be looking at the individual homes right away. And even so, on a hot summer's day, they probably have the doors open for
Airflow.
yes, thank you. So I don't think she would think much of it. She would be more looking at the what kind of things they have and try to get a better idea of what maybe they do have to offer, or what maybe she can offer them for any other negotiations or conversations that take place.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys are traveling through. A number of the Stonetop locals are, of course, watching this. I do think we see Ronwin, I think, sees Price, who is... Go ahead.
But I would not have come with them.
Oh, you're not going to accompany them to the public house?
I don't know if Killian would have just left the people on the edge of town alone.
Well, Sonya would have
Oh.
sent them away, like back as they had agreed. Like
Well,
she would have
but
come in,
that's-
but
Ronan will wait for
Oh,
for
yeah.
them to. She's not gonna assume they're gonna leave. She's gonna stand there. You guys can go ahead. She's gonna stand there with.
and watch
even
them
if
go.
Killian isn't, I'm gonna watch them go.
That's a really good point. I did not think about that. Yes. So yeah, because otherwise Killian would have to leave one of his crew here because that would constitute something Killian would want to keep. Because obviously, if this is a trick,
Yeah, we're not gonna just turn around.
exactly.
Yeah.
So-
I'll and wait for them to leave.
So I assume in this case, Ronwin probably exchanges a look with Killian. Like words probably aren't even spoken, as if to say like, I'll stay and make sure they, that you obviously understand the gravity of the situation. Because otherwise, yeah, Killian would have to leave a crew member behind, which he doesn't want to do.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you stay behind at the outskirts of town with your flail.
This old lady with one eye just standing out in a field with a flail. And the sun is like high noon.
I'll probably just wait under like lean up against a tree.
Yeah, and I definitely think we get a shot of Elias, who's still there, right?
Yep.
Who is doing that hyper masculine thing of like watching you watch him, and his other allies are like, because I assume that Sonia, Elias is sort of by default in charge here of the rest of the group because Astrid was brought into the town, and Elias is one of the stronger, or if not the strongest warrior of the Reachers. So Elias is doing that thing where he's backing away from you, even though there's probably dozens of feet between you. Like there's no threat, but he just wants you to know, like, I see you.
Yeah, this is not new or impressive or intimidating to Ronwin.
Right. So Ronwin is
These kinds of big posturing men are a dime a dozen of the dozens of years that she's lived outside. This
Right.
is nothing.
exactly. Yeah, and
This
he's
guy's also my age. Like, fucking don't care. Well,
Right.
he's not half my. He's like 20 years younger, but still.
yeah, but he's definitely giving you. There is probably, I assume, a kind of like shit-eating grin on his face, as he's backing away from you, like because he's probably clocking the situation as you're trying to be calm, but obviously you're threatened by him because fucking look at him, right? Not with no understanding that you are probably a greater threat to him, if not on equal footing. But yeah, he just continues backing up, and his people are getting further away from him. And as much as he would love to like keep this pissing contest going with you, he does have some responsibility to his people being left sort of in charge. So yes, they go to a presumably safe distance. I think Sonia would have told them like where to go to stay. Yeah, so they go back to the designated place, and Ronwin just kind of hangs out there under the shade of a tree watching. Kind of want that as a piece of art, but okay.
That would be kind of badass, just to have a one-eyed woman with a flail leaning under a tree on a certain type of day.
Yeah, hot summer day, blue skies, just like her, just staring off at something. I like that. So yeah, we cut back to the public house. No Ronwin. The crew is there. Killian is there. Again, so Ronwin wasn't there. Yeah, I can't. I would say, like, if Killian were here, Price is definitely there with Yorith and Sherwood. He seems like he's starting to amass, like, a small group of, like, embittered males who are just kind of, like, watching this and watching Killian, like, escorting these strangers in with the understanding. And I do think I kind of want... Is there a role here? Because remember that I think, and Jason, tell me if you disagree, but I do recall you saying like Reese mouthed off about Black Wolf's death, right? Like that happened.
No, wait, Reese didn't mouth off.
No,
Price mouthed off,
Price
and then
mouthed
Price
off, but
came back.
Oh, sorry. Price mouthed off. Reese punched him in the nose.
Right. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to. I kind of want a what? It, Also, I guess, Mel, we're going to have to potentially look at your moves. I will try to review them when I have a moment, but not today.
I update them from the swap we made.
Well, but also like the strengthen your bond move, because your people aren't followers, but we'll have to look at that because you do have that strengthening your bond thing so we might have to review that. But
Gotcha.
Reese, I kind of want to have you give me I kind of want to do this retroactively to see, because I assume that, you went to punch him in the nose, but Price was still a fighter. Like he was part of the crew until Killian kicked him out. So I kind of want some kind of, either maybe we make it a luck roll or we just do a clash roll to see like how your scrap with him went. Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely makes sense. About the only question I'm going to ask is, do I have advantage because he doesn't know it's I don't think anyone is expecting Reese to walk up and punch them anymore.
Well, it's also like I guess the question is back to you. Like when you hear him mouthing off to people about like, see, that's what happened. Like he would definitely make it about the marshal too. Like, see, I told you Killian was weak. Let that strange witchy girl in here. Like, is this a such scene where Reese just hears this, doesn't say anything, and decks him, or do you
Yes,
go up to him and say
absolutely.
like, hey, shut your fucking mouth?
I think it's a matter of he's mouthing off like normal and Reese is already on edge. And then he's mouthing off about the marshal, which he does all the fucking time.
Right.
And that's fine. And Reese is in the process of getting up to leave anyway because he doesn't want to deal with this nonsense. And then he makes it's a good, the girl died and no one will care. Whatever he says that sets Reese off. And Reese just very quietly turns around and lets fly.
Yeah,
Well,
give
not
me
actually, let's fly.
yeah, well give me a clash roll with advantage then. If you're just decking him basically instead of like
Oh yeah,
yeah, I think
I'm
advantage
still
is
gonna
fine.
fail this roll, but I just try.
I just want to see like if you get, depending on what you get, like obviously,
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
Right, of course. So like I think you level him. Like I think you hit him, he hits the ground. Right? Meaning like it's kind of again as a surprise attack, like he doesn't even have time to deal with this. So I think in the scene where we see Killian escorting Sonya and her people, Sonya, of course, you see this like middle-aged looking guy who with these two younger guys, and this guy, I don't know, Reese, does he have a black eye? Did you break his nose?
Mm,
Is
I'm
half
trying to
his
think
face bruised? Like how hard
I
did
don't.
you hit him?
I'm
Knocked
trying
out
to
a tooth.
think. Reese wouldn't aim for the mouth. He knows better than that. There's sharp teeth there,
It's true.
and he is used to dealing. I'm trying to put this in the framework of someone who doesn't fight people very often.
It's true. Oh, is this a thing where like Reese's like what's an animal that you punch to get it to calm down?
Shark.
Yes,
shark.
I can think of a shark. But I was more thinking. No, I think. Oh, this is so brutally in character that I love it. Reese didn't go for the face. Reese punched him in the fucking throat.
He punched him in the throat. It's a throat punch.
He just walked up and all of a because he wants this man to shut the fuck up. You can't talk if you can't breathe.
Yeah, so I love that. I think there's like a week or more where Price is like, fucking Reese that like just raspy and like everything is coming out in like a choked cough.
Really,
and-
who is still taking this guy seriously?
Yeah, I love that. I wonder if is his neck all bruised or is Price the kind of asshole? Does he like try to cover his neck?
I very much picture that when he still has the raspy voice, no, he doesn't bother to cover it.
Oh,
As soon as his voice is better and the bruise lingers, this asshole's wearing a scarf in summertime.
yeah, yeah. He's wearing something around his neck to hide it. To make it look like it never. It's fine. I'm fully recovered.
It's fine. Look how quickly I healed.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's just there with his arms crossed, watching this whole thing, definitely like shaking his head at the marshal, who I assume is just, ignoring him or trying to, as we see these foreigners being escorted to the public house. And yeah, I think like all the doors and the windows of the public house are open. I'll have to go find my weather to see what our weather's like today. Summer's usually pretty nice though here in Stonetop, if not a little on the hot side. Where's my GM reference? Here it is. But I will look for that. So while I'm doing that, you guys are in the public house. Killian's wife, of course, and his I believe his mother-in-law sort of spend some time working in the tavern, are kind of like passing out food and I think there's probably a few other people here, locals, because again, it's the heat of the day, and they're trying to take some shade shelter in the inn, in the public house. But like they'll clear out a space and have some other people move. So Sonya, you are invited to sit. I assume Astrid is like right next to you it's Cece, right? Cecilia,
CC, yep,
and she's like 4.
correct.
Okay. So yeah, it's you and Astrid and the baby are there. Killian, Cassander. I don't know. Would anyone else? Because Reese isn't there. Ronwin stayed behind. I mean, who else would be there from town?
Maybe one of the younger elders.
Yeah, younger elders.
Not Killian's mother-in-law, right? I think she would have been there, right?
Yeah, Killian's mother-in-law. Because again, what the fuck is happening with my Miro board? Oh my god. Yeah, Magda, I think, is like ancient, so she wouldn't be there.
What
Who would you say was there? What about like Bloodwin or something?
Well, Blodwin was
Amber Lee too.
Amber Lee, the retired midwife. Cyanid is Sydney's mother, and she is an elder, so Cyanid could be there. Amber. I also like maybe Caradwin, the retired blacksmith, or mostly retired blacksmith.
Or Cassandra's father.
No, not Cassandra. You mean
Killian's
Killian.
father.
Killian, yes, sorry.
Who his name was Calhoun. Yeah.
the former marshal, he's got this big group of people. Like, this might be the first big thing that Killian's had to deal with in this. So
Yeah,
if
and
nothing else, he might be at the public house keeping an eye on the side.
well, I also like the idea, and this isn't something I thought about before. Maybe like Caradwin and Calhoun, because the two of them are both of an age. They grew up together, right? The blacksmith and the former marshal. Like maybe they're like, old, retired, old, two grumpy old men kind of friends. Like they've known each other too long and they know each other too well and they spend like lunches here together sometime. So they're already here. And Cyanid, of course, is Calhoun's wife. Or no, I'm sorry. It's not. I'm lying to you. That's Sydney's mother. And Cyanid works here. So yeah, it's like the three of them are here. And they're not here because they were invited. Like they weren't summoned. They're just here. But of course, Killian would probably be like, hey, here's what's going on. Do you want to like... So I think the question, I guess, is like, do the elders sit across from... So many new names, Sonia and Astrid, and like is Cassander expected to stand? Or is it like the elders just sit nearby and listen? Like, I wonder what this looks like.
What are the tables like in here?
I assume they were like smaller. I mean, we never established, I guess. They could be just like long benches.
Tops? Like,
Yeah, that's what I was
or are they,
imagining, like round six tops.
Yeah. Because it's either that or I was thinking like cafeteria style long
But yeah,
long tables.
long tables with benches. I don't know. Does anyone have strong feelings about what the public house looks like?
Nope.
I would imagine it's very. Yeah, because we have such a dearth of lumber, so to speak, like we have to import it despite living next to a forest.
Right.
It's a combination of like all the chairs are the lumber we had. Not all the chairs, excuse me. All the tables are long tables we had to buy lumber for, but some of the chairs are obviously cobbled together from pieces of fallen wood.
Right. It's
So
reclaimed.
it's a lot of mismatching chairs.
Right. That
I like
makes
that.
that makes sense to me. Yeah, it's all mismatched. Yeah. And just so you know, I did roll for our weather today. It's hot and dry right now. It should be a little cooler, a little windy at night. But mostly it's just hot and dry. Again, dog days of summer. Yeah, and you guys are found at this mismatched kind of table. But it's cozy. We know that. Stonetop's Inn is definitely cozy. Public house, sorry, not an inn. And yeah, you're brought some food and drink. The elders are kind of seated nearby. And I think, Sonia, it's kind of on you to, I guess, start us off.
It's a lovely town you have here. I'm assuming there are questions. Looking to everyone. Though I think she does kind of occasionally glance to you, Cassander, and just like, you can tell she's not used to not having the staff by her side.
Well, for starters, you said you've come to hopefully make a home here, or you're looking for somewhere. What happened to your last home?
What always happens? There was a fight, people were lost, and some of us just got sick of it. So, we left.
And the man reaches you.
I haven't
don't know.
mentioned that.
I think I don't know if I don't know if we. I guess I. How much do we know? Would we have recognized you as people from the man reaches, given your garb, your tattoos, your general stance, or?
Yeah, that is a fair point that we sort of didn't cover. Because
like, I was recognized as Lagosian when I got here.
Right.
Like,
I do think it's fair to say that some people would recognize you as being Reachers based on the size of you, the shape of you, the tattoos, the garb. And again, like Cassander's Lygosi, so he's from the south as well. It stands to reason he would have had some encounters. Ron, when we know, traveled. Some people might, might assume you're from somewhere else, but those traveled would know.
Then at the mention, I think Sonia will just smile, kind of reaffirming her confidence in you as somebody being the right person to hand the staff off to. Sorry, continue with the question.
So the man reaches, is that, I presume that's where you used to live.
The Northern Man Marches, yes.
And, from what I know, there is a, as you said, don't want to. Many problems seem to be solved through strength, physical strength.
That is a very delicate way of putting it, but yes, we are generally peoples who take what we want by force. We are peoples who also have a lot of infighting, though, which is not ideal for raising a family, and she'll motion to Astrid and CC. It's not ideal for longevity. I'm not going to make you pull it out of me. If we're to stay here, transparency is hopefully paramount, but my husband was trying to unite our people. He failed. We lost. He's dead. Among our people, it is not uncommon for the family of the fallen to be slain to prevent further rebellion. However, when we left, others came with us. Usually they're absorbed by the winning clan. So, I don't want to say that we're refugees. Myself, my sister Astrid here, and our small family, yes. The others are not. They left willingly. Which people are wont to do. It does happen. The violent life does not suit everybody.
It's reassuring to hear the reason that someone followed it. Because I don't mean to speak for the town, as I have not been here very long, but this place does not solve its problems through violence.
Sorry.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one that's snickered.
The woman at the front would suggest otherwise, but I'm assuming every town needs its protectors. And we can offer that among our many uses. Pardon my brother-in-law, Elias, who you met at the front. He's having some struggles with the change in life. However, his wife, and again she'll motion to Astrid, and his children matter to him most of all. I am here to provide guidance to my people to help make sure that we start right in a new place. And Stonetop very much seems a place we could make that new life that we want, even if it doesn't necessarily seem it right now. Change is hard, especially for people of age.
I look like I don't know if that Sonia collects, but I look like out in the direction of where I know Ronwin is still standing when she says people of age are hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I for one think this might be very fortuitous, and I'll look to the elders at this. I know our marshal has talked about wanting a sort of stronger defensive force here, and while not all of these people are want to do violence or even looking to protect the village, then there might be some among them that can help in with training or with tactics or any of that. And if they're the more numbers we have, the stronger we are as people. I understand it's going to be rough, probably. The people here and your people coming to accept one another, but you welcomed me in, and I hope you haven't regretted that decision.
I think Calhoun is probably giving Killian a look. The elders, in fact, when you sort of gesture to them, I imagine a look about them that's like, what a coincidence that not long after you came to us about, a standing watch, right, or building up the town's defenses, that this has maybe fallen into our lap. But I also think Calhoun, being the elder marshal, is a bit more reluctant, perhaps, and is probably like looking to Killian. And for some reason, I don't know. I'm thinking Killian would be. Again, I don't think Killian loves this. Like, yes, he wants a standing watch. Like, yes, those are long-term goals, but also, I don't know. I'm struggling with the idea that like he wouldn't want it to happen like this. This is.
I think you're right. I think Killian. I think this group represents. I mean, it could like they solve their problems with violence, right? They as was Elias, is that his name?
Yes.
Kind of demonstrated at that he is used to just taking things, right? Like if there's something he needs or wants, it's like, oh, I'll just take this because I'm a might makes right kind of guy, which can be good to have on your side if you're looking for someone strong, but it could also be a real threat, like what's to stop these people from just raiding our village and taking everything and taking our resources and leaving on their own. And I think as much as they pose a potential boon to the village, I think they also pose a threat to it, and I think that's all Killian sees. Whereas I think Cassander is more likely, focus it like it's like, yeah, it could be a threat, but still we should give them, like, even if there is a threat there, and I'm maybe not, from his perspective at least, I would think not at all appreciating the threat they might pose.
Right, and it also, I think, highlights for me the dichotomy that Killian is sort of solving problems before they arise, whereas Cassander, being the judge, is like, no, it's fine if they make a mistake. I will judge them after.
Yeah.
Right? Judgment comes after the mistake, and Killian is very much like, let's solve it before we end up there kind of thing.
But he also tends to waffle of like, is this good, is this bad? So I think Killian, he hates it not just because he doesn't want it to happen this way, but he does acknowledge that it needs to happen. Yeah. So how would it happen? Like, it's going to be people from the outside. It's got to be, but is it these people? Like, I think the character instinct there.
Yeah, his instinct was like, I agonize over decisions.
Agonizing over decisions is his instinct, yes.
So I think, like, while he would probably, like, initially react to being like, we should just say no. Sorry, we don't have the room. I wish you well. You could come in for some food even. Like, I think he would be hospitable, but his initial instinct would be like, no. And then hearing other people advocate against it or for them, against his position, would then put him into that agonizing, like, well, fuck, am I right? Like, shit, is this? And
yeah,
I don't have any of that problem.
Yeah, and I
know
actually
what's right and wrong.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you do not have that problem. I'd like to think that like Killian is, and this is me metaing a little bit, but Killian is like weirdly just watching this, kind of like probably leaned up against the wall with his arms crossed, and we know as the audience he's like agonized. But I think it's Calhoun that sort of speaks up, and to sort of like ask the question I think he thinks no one has asked, even though I think Cassander has alluded to it. And, he's just this older guy, soft, but like, definitely a formerly, could handle himself kind of guy. I think Sonia recognizes that. kind of says, "What's chasing you?" Like you've sort of, I don't know if you've acknowledged that you're fleeing. I mean, the implication I think is there. So he's just like
Said
flatly
she'd
asking,
be killed if she stuck around.
"What's that?"
She did say she'd be killed if she stuck around. She said my husband was trying to bring things together. They killed him, and they typically kill the families. The
Right, but
left.
I think Calhoun, the question he's asking
But
is like, are you still in danger? Are you still being chased? Is your danger going to find us here? Is the question he's really trying to get at.
Yeah, and the question bluntly is, what's chasing you? I think she's gonna look at him and very honestly, just like almost exasperated, not exasperated, but exhausted, like, my past. But I don't have any indication that it's come this far, nor will it. Some of our clans, or most of our clans, are rather short-sighted, and we've been gone for the better part of a moon. So we would have noticed by now if they were still following us. There's no reason for them to continue to chase. They have their own internal squabbles to satisfy their needs with.
And I think Calhoun sort of like twists that back on you and says, "So a bunch of refugees from far to the south, coming from a very violent people, have arrived in our midst, and they bring with them no dangers."
I never said that, but I also can't speak for my pursuers. I can only make assumptions.
And Calhoun just sort of like, not smug necessarily, but like leans back in his chair and crosses his arms as if to say, like, "I made my point." And the if it's not clear, I think the point he's making is, there's no such thing as no danger, right? That there will be consequences to this. It's just we don't know what they are.
And if Sonya reads this very, very openly, and she's gonna just, would you prefer I've lied to you, sir, and said no? There's no trouble. Of course, people have their own problems and bring them with them. There's nothing to be done about it. I can only hope that we'll be stronger together, your people and mine. And you can help me show them a better way of life, because clearly you're happy here. And I'm hoping we too can be.
And yeah, Calhoun just, again, just doesn't really react to it. Like he hears you, but kind of just sits with it.
But it also shows that Sonya is also a very outwardly spoken woman.
Mm-hmm.
I think is more the point here that I'm trying to get across of the characterization. So,
Yeah.
and she doesn't know who's who and like who necessarily she might be snapping at.
Pissing off. Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, so I think the elders sort of just kind of like exchange glances at each other, Cyanid and Calhoun and Caradwin.
If you're amenable to my people moving in, I am okay, and I'm sure they too will be, with a slow introduction, little by little. So any issues can be dealt with in hand, and you hopefully will not feel as threatened as you do now. I do not intend for my people to push you out of home. I do not intend for us to make you feel uncomfortable. But we need to stop. We have young children. We have older folks with us. It would be irresponsible to keep going without at least making the attempt at stability.
Yeah, and I think the elders are quiet, and Killian is, of course, agonized. Does Cassandra have any other questions or anything to say?
I mean, yeah, I guess I would. I would say like I'd speak more to the elders again, and I would say, like I know I'm still new here. And I know not everyone understands or respects my role as the judge yet, or my relationship with Aratus. But we should be hospitable here. We should welcome these people in. They need help. We need help. We can help one another. This is what is going to protect all of us.
Yeah, I think the elders kind of hear you out. Killian hears you. And I think unless there's like another scene anyone wants to frame, I think that they, we sort of montage the agreement, which as Sonia has laid out, and I think the elders and Killian would agree, like we take this slow, one step at a time, we let you in. But understanding it's not, I don't want to describe it as a probationary period, but it is a little like that is kind of what ends up happening, right? It's a little like you need to be cautious and keep your people in line because, we may change our minds, right? But I was thinking a little bit about this passively. I'm curious if anyone else has opinions because as a GM, I am biased. I love the idea of like your reachers, like they have to transgress in some way because they don't know. But I don't want to take away Killian's agency, even though John's not here. And by that, I mean, do we think that Killian, wouldn't he give them like general like rules? Like here's some things not to do. And one of those things would be like, don't cut down trees. Or is it the case that he does and they do it anyway?
I was thinking about that, and I was thinking it's the latter, right? Because that's part of the growing pains is that I think I mentioned earlier they might have been told and didn't take it seriously.
It's either that or they might have been told but not understood. The way I imagine him saying it is, you see those trees, you see that wood, you don't cut that down. There's whatever he says as far as context, he just says, you don't cut down those trees. So what do? Okay, they leave the town and go to a different part of the wood that's technically beyond the wood at the very edge of Stonetop. And they come back with logs.
Well, or is it like when they're told not to do it, are they told why not to do it? Or is it more like we're just telling you don't and there's no reason given? So the reachers are like, well, we haven't been given a reason. So we're, it's like a child. Like you didn't tell me why I couldn't do it. So I did it. Or, do we want to, does it make more sense to say like they're told not to go there to do it. So they just go to a different zone to cut down trees anyway.
I think they're told not to cut down the trees instead of being told not to cut living wood. Taking a branch off a tree is not cutting it down.
Oh, right.
Yes. Good call, Jace.
So they're
like it's a lost in translate, or they translate it that way. Cut no living wood, as in like don't cut down the tree.
But they'll so okay. I mean, it's also great for them because it's still physical activity. Okay, we'll climb the tree. We'll cut down some of the bigger branches.
Like it's a mistranslation thing for people. Again, Stonetop. What are we? Stonetopians? Toppers?
That's toppers. I was saying Stonetopian, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Again,
Stoners?
we grow up with all of this. To an extent, it's very much just kind of the kids learn not to cut anything down because nobody in the village cuts anything down. There's no.
I mean, how often does this have to
education.
be explained to a more than an individual or something who can ask questions? Whereas a group of people, just like we all see in our everyday lives, like no one person's willing to ask a question in a group and look like an idiot. They're just like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and it could be even simpler, the language. It's like you say cut no trees, and they interpret that to mean don't cut down any trees. We're still allowed to take branches. I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? Don't cut living wood. They interpret to mean don't cut down a tree, but we can still take the branches or,
Yeah,
the
they think we're
heavier.
talking funny. They think we're talking hick.
Right.
Yeah.
It's colloquial. They think you mean something. Yeah. It's a bad translation error. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
That's why you don't rely on Google Translate.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think like over this period of a few weeks, the reachers are sort of allowed to come in. I do think I'm just going to tell you, Mel, that I think Elias is definitely going to have some challenges.
Oh yeah.
For sure. I mean, some of the other reachers might as well, but Elias clearly like is going to have some issues.
I will like to say, like, the way I imagined him is he wants the change for his family, but is struggling with it himself because it
Yeah.
is essentially his nature.
Right. But also, I do think like it's something I was going to do with John, but thankfully he rolled it out of it. Is like, does Astrid? She has 3 kids, 2 daughters. Are they all female or?
Nope, 2 daughters, 1 son.
Yeah. So I wonder if he's going to struggle because again, as we is Elias going to try to raise his son like a reacher, meaning like fighting is normal, like that's very like Spartan energy, right? Like I expect you to, for example, go out into the wood and kill a bear, like which to a Stonetopian or topper is like that's not a thing you do. You don't just tell a child to go out into the wood and hunt something. Like that's insane. That's how people end up dead.
I think it's gonna be a growing pains thing because the nephew's
Yeah.
only 9, but at that age, I would imagine among man marchers, top wait, what's
Reachers,
it called? Reachers.
reachers and toppers. Reach
That
around.
at 9 they can absolutely they'll be in the fighting drills and things like that he's hosting for the full ass adults here that he may start training. But seeing the 9-year-olds like what the fuck, and then he would have to figure out like, wait, we don't need warriors, we just need defenders. So what else is this kid supposed to do with this boundless energy that he would remember as a young boy? And it's like, okay, he can be a hunter, but then he has no idea about the threats and he wouldn't want his son to be a farmer. That's his thing.
Right.
There's
exactly.
no shame in farming, but he wouldn't want his son to be a farmer.
There's no shame in it, but there's shame in it when it's my son doing it.
Yes. No, because he'd be okay with like his niece marrying a farmer. Like that's fine, or his niece, his daughter, Sonya's niece.
Would he though? Do you think? Because I could imagine a warrior being like, no, you will marry a fighter. Like if
No.
he is not strong enough to beat me in melee, then he is not strong enough for you.
I think
Well, that's
only
just-
what his son does brings shame on him.
Well, not only that, but the niece I have is 15, and she's more tomboyish. If his niece, or god damn it, I keep saying that, his daughter is a fighter, that's fine by him. If you want to marry a farmer and that's what makes you happy, fine. So long as somebody can protect you.
Okay, I could see that. All right.
So.
Yeah. So, and I just realized that I have another way to push one of my threats as well, which I really like. I heard that sigh. Yeah, so I think a couple weeks will pass into summer, and we're getting into late summer now. We're maybe even starting to see like a little bit of the browns coming in the trees.
And some of those scenes we talked about, like with character creation, have happened where it's like, wait, the niece gets her ass reamed for being out in the woods. That we learn about not cutting down the trees, and Sonya finally putting her foot down and say, somebody needs to give us the actual lay of the land as far as these like piecemeal bits, because we keep stepping on toes now, and we don't know it until we do it.
Right.
And maybe I think you've done one of your magic science experiments has like been
Started
a
with the help of the
positive
fields, yeah.
effect on the field. So it's like you have a skill or talent that would be uniquely useful, and we should explore that as the group of people that have skills and talents that are uniquely useful.
Fair.
Okay. All right, and I think we'll wrap there since we're actually past time. I didn't even realize. Okay, and let's go ahead and do our XP end of session. Here we are. Did anyone demonstrate or struggle with instinct? If so, how?
I think Killian struggled with it. I think I demonstrated it.
I also think that Sonya demonstrated hers. but I'll let you go first.
I only punched one dude. I didn't do shit.
What's Cassandra's instinct? To judge quickly? And you did judge quickly, but in a positive direction, right? Like
yeah, that this I'm
Yeah.
judging for the this is good. We should do this. Like, there's not. I understand that there are concerns, but like, we should roll with this now while we have the opportunity and not let this go. Right? Like,
I agree. I think that totally makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Mark XP, and then Sonia. What is your trigger? Your instinct trigger? I guess I didn't even ask before.
Her instinct is curiosity, and when she prompted Cassandra about the staff, she prompted his curiosity to confirm her suspicions.
Wait, what is a curiosity?
like,
Oh,
you are a curiosity.
I'm saying I'm a curious
Yeah,
person, but she was trying to confirm if she was right in that you have some greater knowledge than these hicks.
I can
The
see
fact
that.
I like that because I was like, looking at I was like, this is more than what you just handed me.
Yeah.
And you picked up on it that I was doing that. I was like, okay, that's confirmed.
But also remember, curiosity to seek answers that maybe you oughtn't, which, yeah, I like that too. I like that framing of the question. But yeah, I think curiosity about Cassandra makes sense to me. Also, just heads up, I may have to take a step away because I think my food's about to arrive, assuming this guy can find my place because they can never find it, which is amazing to me. But yeah, what about Ronwyn? What's your
Yes. Absolutely.
Threat
What's
of
her-
violence is violence.
As soon as the young kids started to get froggy, she dropped the flail.
Yeah.
She was willing to.
Yeah.
She didn't
Yeah.
have to, but she was ready to.
I think
Sorry.
that's a big display. Yeah.
Well, it's to solve problems as directly as possible. So being like, I like that. You got froggy, and I'm not even saying anything. I'm showing you.
The
If you-
flail drops.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that's such a
dog-
simple, like encapsulation of her character. Like, just she didn't even say it. It's just a literal way to say don't by dropping the head of a flail.
But so many people and I know I struggle with this too. Like it's to solve things by force or directly. Like you think that's verbally or by action, by like physical violent action, and it's like no, it could be subtle.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Mark XP. And Reese, you said no. You said there was no.
Mine's tenacity to persist. Like, I didn't really do anything where I was. The only thing Reese technically did this session was lose his temper.
That's okay. Yeah,
Retroactively.
yeah, that's totally
Yeah, were
fine.
you even in this session? You're just out in the woods right now. Like, you were here, but in like flashback scenes and in like, future
Exactly.
scenes, but like present immediate scenes.
He's in the woods.
Yeah, he's in the woods. That's okay.
He's
Which maybe that's stubborn,
Staying in the
refusing to come in
woods.
from
tenacity, not leaving the wood. I'm not coming back inside, Mom.
No, you can't make me.
Exactly. Say, I like this one. Say how your relationship with or opinion of a PC, NPC, or group has changed. Now we might get into some group stuff, but if it can, what is it? And tell me how. And I'm still listening, but I might have to go look at where this idiot is.
I mean, I get an easy yes on this because everybody, like she's kind of weighed and measured, or at least Ronwyn, Killian to some extent, and Cassandra, and at least gotten an opinion about them, and especially Cassandra. And I feel like I pick on you a lot, Conrad. I'm sorry, but again, just for that gleaning of information, and realizing he's different than the rest.
Yeah, I think that Ronwyn's opinion on man-reachers, while formed, has solidified a little bit. Like she's still wary of them. She always knew that they were like brutes, but to see one, in her own home, kind of just like meant they don't change. They're like this whether they're in the man reaches or they're out. Even the ones on the run are like this.
So it's more that your opinion has like solidified. Like there's no doubt now for you. Like it doesn't matter, if you take the cat out of the jungle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Reese's opinion. He hasn't met the new folks yet, unless we're counting the one thing of you ought know better, but you don't. Reese's opinion of Price is actually dropping. it's one thing to say bad things about you disagree with how the town is being run and you vocalize it. Fine. You're now speaking ill of the dead when you haven't done shit and you never talk to them. That's a different type of low.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fair.
You just got downgraded from annoyance to are you a threat to town?
Maybe in a literal way. Okay.
I'm gonna have to censure Reese. Fucking.
I hear that weird smile in Sean's voice when he says it.
Right?
Oh,
Oh.
Sure, I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
would absolutely love for Cassandra to come like, Reese, you can't just go throat punch people.
Can't just throw punch people that say shit. That's not.
Yes, I can actually. Watch.
No,
I can demonstrate.
no, you can't.
He's
I
passing
did.
judgment, Cassandra. Let him do it.
That
No,
honestly
that's my
hadn't.
job.
That actually
That's
hadn't
the
even
whole-
occurred to me. Like that means Price can appeal to the judge to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that either. Holy shit, that's good." Man, this
Damn it,
this
Jason.
game's pretty great. I gotta say. Damn it, Jason. Okay, and then I'm sorry, Cassandra. Did your relationship change with?
I don't think so. I think nothing. Yeah, I mean,
No, it's okay. If it didn't yet, I feel like that's an easy one to get in the future. That's not a problem.
yeah.
Did we learn more about the world or its history? If so, what?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, we learned about the Reach.
You learned about the Reach. You learned all about the Reach and some of the violence that may find its way here because someone may have brought it here. Who knows?
What? We are so far away. Nothing's gonna happen.
World
Of course
is
it won't.
pretty big.
It's not the Reach, too. It is man marches.
Yeah.
Well, I think the game refers to it as both. Like sometimes, or maybe is there a different part of the world that's technically the Reach?
I've been
I don't know,
calling it the
looking at-
man reaches.
Southern Man March. Because I think the book might refer to it. Because technically there's South Man March and North Man March, which might
Right.
communally be referred to as like the Reach or something. I'll have to double check. Again,
Oh,
this
that-
world's
if
got a
it's
lot
all
of.
the Reach. That might make sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the setting overview, the little map, the last page on that handout.
Let's see. Marsh Edge, Dread River, South. Why did they separate the Man Reach like that? Yeah, nomads hunting, auroch herds, trade is steady. It's weird. Oh, North Man March are home to an aggressive warlike people who dwell in wooden longhouses. Very Vikings. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, Man March, Man Reach. It's fine. All right, but you definitely learned more about the world. Did we defeat a Stonetop threat to Stonetop or the region? I don't think so.
No.
Did we improve our standing with our neighbors? I don't think so. Did we make a lasting improvement to Stonetop or tangible progress toward doing so?
I think adding 40 people is tangible progress.
Well, it depends on what the improvement is, but I think like if you're, I could kind of waver on that one and say yes. Like
I mean, he's here to start the standing guard, right?
that's
And,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
With one of the
Yeah.
goals to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you have made some progress, some tangible progress. So
We,
yes.
we have the veteran here that we need. We just don't know if he's gonna be at all amenable to actually helping the village.
Right. If he
Well, at the
doesn't
very
think,
least, he'll be training his own people.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, to take over the town. Because you're all weak. So you're weak Northerners. You don't know the difficulties. All right, so that's XP. And then any stars and wishes. Stars are things you enjoyed. Wishes are things you'd like to see.
I like that Mel's new character is the opposite of Black Wolf, and she talks like a lot
Yeah.
versus Black Wolf who can't talk.
Just like grunted and nodded.
It's just the opposite. I kind of like it.
I mean, I still wanted to do magic, but I didn't want to completely just recreate Black Wolf because some of the Seeker stuff does blend with the Blessed stuff that I might want to take later. So like, I
This
can't think
is
of very
White
different
Wolf.
character.
She was also abandoned.
Yeah. Went from playing Black Wolf to White Wolf or Red Wolf or something like that. Okay. Other stars or wishes.
2-star for. I do just like that your character reads and writes. That's just nice being here in Hicktown. And then the two babies carrying around by Ronwyn.
I can't
and
wait
her
for
being
that.
mad
This is great.
about like the 6 farmers that are now within an acre of her instead of just being nobody around. Like it's still pretty isolated, but
Yes, I
Well-
say the neighborhood has gone to shit.
Just wait until I'm absolutely picturing a scene where, like, for some reason, because young mothers tend to be quite stressed out, which is understandable, but like Ronwyn seems like not stressed at all. So the babies will be crying and screaming and won't sleep. And it's only when Ronwyn carries them around that they calm down. So for sure, Ronwyn's going to be like trucking these babies around because they're
oh.
calm with her.
No, I have a wish. I have a wish. I
Okay.
want to see next game. Ronwyn's out doing something, getting food, doing a Ronwyn thing. Who knows? And Sonya is in the town, wandering by, and she hears the babies fussing and Cadel like trying and failing, and Sonya going in. And
Oh.
again, she's still of a warrior people. She has her own, and helping Cadel soothe the babies. So then Ronwyn walks in and sees the witch with her grandbabies, and they're happy as can be, and Sonya doting over these kids.
So I'm just going to point out, like, just so you guys know, you can always do shit like that during the game. So I expect that scene, Mel, for you to frame that. That's fucking great.
Yes.
Let's do it.
I want it so bad.
It's great. I love that. Because, of course, Cadel, by the way, we already know Cadel's the sweetest, kindest woman, like, maybe in town. There's no chance that she were, unless Ronwyn is like, hey, stay the fuck away from them, which Ronwyn may do. But the Cadel is, her natural demeanor is not one to reject even strangers. So there's no chance. Like, and of course, she'll want to show off her babies if she can. So yeah, 100%. That to me feels great. I love it.
That's gonna be a great scene, and I can't wait to get Ronwyn's reaction walking in on her grandbabies with the witch.
You all love torturing this poor old woman.
So I'm just a
She
poor.
tortured herself by being stubborn as balls.
That's true.
I love
I
it.
have to admit, I'm loving the world building of us making nicknames for everybody. Like, we're toppers, but are we toppers all throughout everywhere, or do we just call ourselves toppers? And other people's call us like stonies or something like an insult.
Stoners,
Like-
Stoners.
stoner hicks.
Hoppers
So
and-
I'm really enjoying that.
Wait, I have a wish.
okay.
I want to 1v1 that guy.
Oh yes, please.
yeah, that'll be fun.
One you on me, bro.
Come at me, bro.
Well, I think one of the things that Sonya might do if she sees some of the tension, she'll talk to the elders about holding maybe an impromptu event, an arena, something so they can get their violence out, but still not be detrimental to the town.
I'm sure that'll go. Oh, can you imagine Killian's reaction to that?
I was gonna say, Kelly gonna lose his shit.
Look, it's
Absolutely.
something we did all the time.
It's harmless. Sometimes people get hurt, but it's harmless.
It's good for character building.
It builds character to get your nose broken repeatedly.
We
Builds camaraderie.
And as soon as someone says that, does it build character to get your throat punched? Look at Cassandra. I don't need to be censured. I was helping him build character.
It's character building, but I punched him in the throat. Okay, other stars and wishes.
Give me a heavy sheet so I can start building out Elias.
No, that's not how NPCs work. Thanks.
Damn it!
Not unless your character dies and you want to make Elias a heavy. Then we'll.
Look, my goal in this game is to go through at least 9 characters, one for every year we've been playing together.
Wow, that's ambitious. I would not hold your breath.
It
Okay,
only took me a month to get rid of the first one.
it's true. Okay, any other thoughts? Taking silence as a no.
I like this game.
I do too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll wrap there. My dinner has arrived. Somehow they actually found my apartment for a change, which is great. I don't know how they can never find it when they have a literal map that shows them how to get here. It's really detailed, but for some reason, anyway, that's me
Because
bitching.
Grubhub fucking sucks.
It's the other one, DoorDash, but either way. All right.
They're
So
all the same.
they are all the same. Cool. Well, we will wrap